Nope, I gotta hit play. Jesus Christ.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes, speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Well, good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, October 27th, 2020, and we begin right now. Shout out to Twine for that beat drop. Aaron Rodgers will be joining us in roughly 2 hours to talk about what happened down in Houston this past weekend. Just a couple days after he was told that his offense was figured out by defenses, and then he responded with one of five. One of five had us figured out with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense and what they did to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had great respect for, but then he started seeing a lot of questions start pop up that wasn't there the first few weeks because they were absolutely dominant, and his haters couldn't come out and ask about anything because honestly, there was nothing to really talk about. So when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played him hard on a primetime football game between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, all the haters came out of the woodwork. Everything they've been wanting to say for the first month and a quarter, especially after watching this show have conversations with him be played all over the world, literally. Even at a Las Vegas casino that had a chopper flying overhead. Aaron Rodgers Tuesday was on there. So all these reporters and all these humans that maybe had, hated Aaron for a long time for whatever reason. Maybe it's because Aaron didn't do a lot of media before this particular season because he was always living by the motto that is...
kill them with indifference.
Which means I'm not even going to respond to any of this stuff, which no human at that level of superstardom has ever really done. Very rarely do you learn of a superstar that a story comes out that doesn't paint them in like the best image, that you don't hear them go, whoa, that's not true, let me blah, 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 and decide to jump into the drama, right? Normally that happens. Normally somebody kind of goes, that's not the way it works. There's my side and then there's a little bit of drama. Aaron Rodgers has decided like, yo, listen, I'm going to kill him with indifference. I'm not even going to address that. That then obviously created its own world of conversation about the enigma that is Aaron Rodgers. And it wasn't until this year, I think, on these Tuesdays with AJ Hawk, myself, and all the boys, and even callers where we take calls from random people around the country to ask him questions, did people really start to understand that Aaron Rodgers, one of the coolest dudes potentially to ever exist.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, I did not know that about him either until I got a chance to chat with him. I always respected the way he played football, the way he handled himself. And to be honest, I always respected the fact that he never came out and answered anything that was ever said about him because I was like, oh, here's a guy that obviously enjoys his privacy. And then whenever I start to talk to him and get a chance to meet him, at his golf tournament, basically, down in the Bahamas that I was invited to, which I should not have been invited to. I very much understood that. I was like, there's no reason. Okay, Chris Paul, Ray Allen are playing golf. J.R. Smith, our guy, by the way, shout out to J.R. Smith. Congrats on another championship. Aaron Rodgers, obviously. Adam Thielen was there. Patrick Peterson was there.
Larry
Fitzgerald. Del Curry was there. I mean, the people that were representing him, I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. I was like, why am I here? And I was there strictly because Aaron Rodgers had followed me on Twitter and things like that. And he enjoyed me, I think, as a human. So he invites me down there, common friend AJ Hawk. And when I first had my first conversation, he sat down and just ate lunch with us. He sat down and ate lunch with us. And I was just talking to him. And I realized, I'm like, you know what? I know nothing about this motherfucker now that I think about it. I had 100 questions for him. And whenever I said hey, we should do, because players do local media normally on Tuesdays. And I respect the hell out of those local media spots. You never really see it be, Tom used to do it, which was very interesting. But around here, Peyton didn't do that. There wasn't a lot of that. He did his conference calls that he had to do, but never really did it. So you get to learn about these. And I always thought these things were cool. I did one for a couple years. And I was like, instead of that happening, how about we just do one on the internet where you can be a little bit more free? Because to be completely honest, Aaron, with how good you are at football, for how long you've been good at football, for how much you've accomplished, I know nothing about you. And I feel like the world knows jack shit about you as well. This just could be easy to do. And obviously, he was in. We had to make we had to really I don't think had to convince many people in that entire thing. I would assume like potential his representatives or agents were like, hold on, what are we doing here? We've had a lot of success this way. Or maybe they're 100% about it because they know him. I would assume that was the case. I think everybody that even knows Aaron is super pumped that he's been doing this. Because you heard who's wide receiver, hoodie, Green Bay Packers.
James Jones.
James Jones said, finally, like, people are getting to learn about Aaron Rodgers and who he is. And AJ says the same thing. I love Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays. You know what I'm saying? Is I love Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays. Can't wait to talk to him. I feel like we've learned a lot about him thus far. And after, having a little bit of adversity with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, coming back and just slicing and dicing like nothing ever happened in a spite game, potentially, to be honest, because everybody's coming out of the woodwork. And if we can figure out more people to bash him,
yeah, that'd be great.
I think that'd be really cool if we could just, but potentially keep stacking those chips on his shoulder, because I'm excited to get into the brain of that man. He's always, last week he was drinking out of a mason jar, a moonshine bottle. Love that. If that's just in his house, by the way, I just learned a lot. Those are in my house, and they're not supposed to be in my house. I don't think the house that I live in is way too nice for me to be in. But I don't think there's supposed to be mason jars just hanging out in there to be drank out of. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we got paper plates everywhere. That's all it is. Like, my house isn't supposed to have the things that him drinking out of a moonshine thing. I'm like, all right, here we go. All right, Aaron. I'm learning more and more about the guy with everything he says, and today should be pumped. He's going to want to talk about Johnny Hekker last night because Aaron Rodgers respects the game. He respects the brand. Last night on Monday Night Football, Johnny Hekker of the Los Angeles Rams led them to a victory over the Chicago Bears. Aaron Rodgers is going to want to talk about it because Aaron Rodgers respects good football. But let me tell you about great football. Great football is when all three phases are kicking ass. Great football is when you see a punter pin them inside their 10, defense force a 3 and out. Chicago Bears have to punt the ball. Now you're getting it around the 50 or maybe even on the plus side because they're backed up so far. And by the way, when you're backed up really far, you can't have the same punt because if your gunners get jammed at all, that's field goal, that's potential points on the board immediately. So you have to kick it a little bit higher. You have to get your coverage down there. Chicago Bears had to do that. Rams took advantage of it, scored some points. That's football. Like, that is what football is supposed to be. That is why the punter position is important in football, because the number 3 overall stat to look at to decide who won a game. Number 1 is the score. Great stat. Great stat to lead.
Huge.
Oh, yeah.
Turnover margin, number 2. And number 3 is field position. It is honestly one of the most important parts of the game that never gets talked about. Now, the stats are changing because offenses are getting better and better, and it's not great for the punter position. I'm just telling you historically for football why the punter position has been so important. That's why you hear coaches like Jim Tressel say the punt is the most important play in football. You hear Bill Belichick talk about it, greatest coach of all time, about how important special teams is, because it's a game of real estate. Okay, it's a game of Condoleezza Rice compared it to war, because it's what it is. You're gaining territory. That's all you're trying to do. And whenever you punt, it's like, okay, we'll give it back to you. Now you're going to try, and then you have to battle. Your defense is keeping them in there. Then you slowly gain down the field. That is what the punting position is. That's why field position matters. And that's why when a guy like Johnny Hekker, who is at the top of the craft, has a game that's at the top of his list of games on primetime television and it wins, it is so great for the brand. This is a conversation that everybody was having. Last night, Steve Levy, Greasy, Louis Riddick, whatever your thoughts are, I enjoy them. They talked about a lot of punting, a lot of that. They called it a watermelon ball, so that hit the internet. I think it's a banana ball. If I'm not mistaken. It's from Aussie Rules Football, by the way. He's been doing this for years now. He's been doing this for like 3 years. And the first time I saw him do this, it was actually the first ever For the Brand video that I've ever put out. I didn't have it called That's Great for the Brand until maybe like the next week. But this is the first NFL Sunday of my retirement. I'm watching the game. It's the first time I'm watching the game in a long time, obviously live, without being in the game. And I see Johnny Hekker do this punt, and I hear the commentators not even say a fucking thing about it. They're just like, the ball just, hey, and he butts it out at the 6 or whatever. And I'm like, Do you know what the fuck just happened? This guy turned that some bitch sideways, and he punted that thing in a chopper fashion. And that thing, by the way, you never see a returner try to catch it because that some bitch is coming down a la a banana whenever it's falling to the ground. I believe that's why it's named that. I'm not Australian. I didn't create the kick, but I would assume that is the case because every time you hit it, it goes up and then it comes down like this, and it normally kicks to the side, which is a much better bounce than the potential forward bounce that comes from the back thing. The only issue with that particular punt is you have like that much of a spot on the ball you can hit. If you hit that thing too thin, that's going straight sideways. That is a 1 yard punt, maybe 2 yard punt potentially. If that thing just, because your foot's this big, the ball obviously is this big. If you're trying to hit that thing here, if you hit that just a little bit left, that thing's going straight sideways. You hit it a little bit to the right, that thing's going straight to the left in a fat fashion. So the fact that he had and the difference, obviously, between Aussie rules football and the NFL football, the Aussie rules football, this is a junior version, is a rounder ball, so the sweet spot's bigger. There's also no person rushing them. It doesn't have to happen in 1.3 seconds from the time it touches your hands to when it happens. But it is similar, but it's very, very different. I saw a lot of Aussie rules fans last night tweeting how similar it is to the banana ball. We've been doing it for 50 years. Like, I agree, you guys have been, and what you guys have helped in the NFL game is incredible, but it's a little bit different. I think Michael Dixon would say that, who was an Aussie rules punter in the NFL now. He comes from that world. But the fact that he had enough confidence to do that, and I recorded it basically, and I was like, I cannot believe this dude did that. I got a text from Shane Leckler that was like, I can't believe that son of a bitch did that because that ball is going out of bounds or whatever. It was just so impressive that he did it with so much pressure on him. And it led to a New York Times article, that particular tweet. Mm-hmm. It led to the For the Brand videos basically still happening because I'm very much if something works early, okay, I'll stick with it. If something doesn't work, I'm going to bounce off because I don't have time to waste to do shit that people obviously don't enjoy and aren't that great. So it's like it's one of those things. So he's probably the birth of not only the For the Brand videos, which I've spent my Sundays doing the last 4 months, loving, by the way. I enjoy the hell out of them. Me just screaming at my phone, hyping up downs that are normally considered bathroom downs, by the way. That's what people normally, it's going into a commercial break. I was getting millions of views on punting videos explaining to people what punting was. And the thing I found out was people were interested to hear about that type of thing. There's just never been anybody that's been able to talk about it. So I think the interesting thing to me about this whole thing is maybe I owe Johnny Hecker a massive thank you for even getting me into the potential football talk world, because I wouldn't have known that people gave a damn about learning about the punting thing. Now, I knew there was a lot of intricacies about it that people would respect if we started breaking down. It's nowhere near as hard of a position as every other position. Okay, we get it. Your shoulders aren't going to be as banged up. Your head isn't going to be as banged up. But you only get a couple opportunities. Like a golfer, for instance. People compare it to golf, which, by the way, golfers' mentality is amazing. Okay, that's a tiny little ball, tiny little club to do your things. But if you hit a bad shot, okay, you can go save it, and then you can save it. And in the kicking road, that doesn't happen. Like if you hit a bad shot, you're walking back to the sideline for 45, 50 minutes just sitting there like, I hope I get a chance to do this again. And by the way, if I don't get a chance to do it again, it's probably going to be my fault why we lost, and I haven't been able to do a damn thing about it afterwards. There's just so much about having to come together in one quick moment, being able to dial it all together and perform at your absolute highest ability. And I think punters and kickers obviously have been mocked for a long, long time for whatever reason, whether it's back in the day where celebrations, tore ACLs, which that's a tough look. I agree, terrible. Okay? And I'm happy Grammatica got his knee back together and everything like that. And there's stories like, when the guy gets kicked in the head by the returner and all that stuff. But the mentality to go out there and perform your job, whether you're a super nerd or a super jock, in such a moment of pressure with so much on the line, I think deserves a little bit of credit, a little bit of, hey, that's pretty impressive what you're able to do. And Johnny Hecker is at the top of the world doing that. That was one of the most impressive nights I've ever seen in my entire life when it came to ball kicking. His first one, it was good. I was like, okay, that's Johnny Hecker, though. Then that 63-yard bomb that just checked up, by the way.
Perfectly.
When you see that ball in the air, okay, there's a chance that thing's going to bounce back. You can tell with the way the ball is spinning that there's a chance it's going to bounce back, or there's a chance it's going to go straight forward. Whenever he saw that ball turning the way it was, and it was coming down, there was probably this like, oh man, this could be perfect. And then you're like watching the gunners and you're watching the ref to see if it's far or if it's close, because if you're 3 feet off, by the way, that's a 20-yard difference in field position. And that thing just spikes and bounces straight up. Oh my God. He ran down the field doing that. That moment of well, you see that ball turning and it checks up, like the amount of relief, the amount of happiness that all hit him. I was so happy for him. He beat the Bears last night.
Yeah.
And now the Bears have to question whether or not their offense is worth a fuck, because whenever you're starting from the 5, you're going to have to be a great offense if you're planning on scoring, because I do believe the chances of scoring is like below 15% or maybe below 10%. I think it's probably below 10% if you start inside your 10. And I think it's obviously much, much lower if you start inside your 5. There's a good chance you're going to be turning the ball back over to the other team, whether it's turnover on downs, interception because you got to make a play, or you're going to end up punting it. And, yeah, he dominated the Bears last night, and I think it's a little bit unfair to judge the Chicago Bears offense this morning because they were put in positions where they had to play perfectly. Like, they would have had to play perfectly. Now, they played nowhere near that. They looked very bad.
Terrible.
Very terrible. I mean, almost disgusting looking at times.
Brutal.
But they did not really get a fair shake, I think, whenever you got Johnny Hekker dominating your entire soul the way he did.
So, like, talking about Hekker, so, like...
At Viva Lazito here, Chicago Bears fan,
much.
Bear.
Don.
No steak. No victory steaks for Gout Zeke.
I still have gout, so I can't eat steaks, but...
Well, you didn't win either, so.
Yeah, you're right.
Either way.
Ted Ginn Jr., though. Should he have returned any of those, or at least get under the ball?
Yeah, that's interesting, because the one that landed at the 10, maybe, but I only think it was a yard or so. If he catches that one that spikes up at the 3 or whatever, and he gets tackled there, everybody calls him an idiot, right? So you can't touch that. That one that he hit sideways, like that ball, that's a tough ball to catch.
Get
Like,
away.
everybody knows that's a tough ball to catch. First of all, Ted Ginn's been around a long time, so I'm sure he's seen it before. I'm not 100% sure if O'Donnell hits that ball. So has he seen that in practice all week? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. But that's a tough ball to catch. I mean, that thing turns. Like, it literally turns sideways. It's awesome to watch because it's like when you learn that your beer league softball friend, okay, who takes it very serious and does like the tournaments and all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And you see videos of him hitting smashing softballs, just smashing softballs, off of like lights and everything like that.
Moon.
Whenever you learn that, I guess their pitchers can throw like curveballs and knuckleballs and high level beer league softball. Like that's what it's like whenever you learn how much a football can move. Like a football can move so much. You can hit a knuckleball where that thing goes sideways. That chopper one turns a lot of, but that's what the punt returner is back there for, right? To be the most athletic person on earth. But if you're Ted Ginn and you see that thing cutting at the last second pretty hard, which is what it does, is it better to let that thing bounce, or is it better to try to catch that thing, buff that thing? You know what I mean? So there's something. That's why the punt, by the way, is so damn good, because there's a chance a muff is coming from this thing as well. It's
because he was trending last night for being so bad, but I didn't want to say he was bad because obviously we don't know much about Hecker's balls.
I mean, Ted Ginn's in a. I mean, punt returner is one of the wildest positions to ever exist.
Too.
Yeah, Hecker's hitting great balls. The thought though of people coming after Ted Ginn, I didn't even follow that. I didn't know that. It reminded me a lot of a game the San Diego Chargers at the time played against the Indianapolis Colts in the playoffs, and it would have been the 2008 season. And Mike Cyphers had like the greatest game in the history of punting at the time. I think he pinned Peyton at like the 4, the 5 bunt. I think he won the playoff game, basically. Mike Cyphers won the playoff game. It came out afterwards. Hunter Smith, I was then drafted immediately after that. So Bill Poley in that game changed, like he got rid of Hunter. He was like, we need a new punter or whatever. And it was because Mike Cyphers won that game. Johnny Hekker last night won that game against the Bears, and I'm not sure O'Donnell could have changed it. So I want to let Hunter Smith know that I think he was unfairly judged whenever he got cut for that game. Because unless Pat O'Donnell was able to hit like a 70-yard rocket, which by the way he could have tried to do, which is a great way to combat that. But you're banking on your offense and defense moving just a little bit or stopping just a little bit. Because if your offense gets a first down all of a sudden, now you're gaining a little bit of field position. But because they weren't able to, and he was hitting those He was in the end over end ball like 44 yards every time. There was no change. Johnny Hekker won that game last night.
For sure. Yep.
Special teams won that game. What's your poll right now, though? This should lead into a pretty good conversation. I'm excited to hear this.
Yep. So who's the worst coach in the NFL? Right now, Adam Gase, 77.4%. Mike McCarthy, 11.7%. Mike Zimmer, 1.5%. And Matt Nagy, 9.4%.
5-2 team has a coach at 9.4% of a poll for who's the worst coach. Mike McCarthy almost being at. That's an interesting situation.
Wild.
Yeah.
Is it?
Jerry Jones say he's our guy, but there's a lot of heat and smoke coming from that Dallas Mike McCarthy one and done thing.
Plenty.
There's no way they get rid of Mike McCarthy after this year. But that locker room needs to figure it out. Don there. Jerry Jones had a hilarious soundbite we'll talk about here in a little bit. At Bubba Gumpino is sitting in on the couch. At Boston Connor's here. Ty Schmidt is here. All the boys in the back. Diggs will not be here today. He woke up this morning feeling a little sick, he said. To err on the side of caution, told him to stay home. We have been getting 2 people in our office tested every single week for COVID here. We have managed to keep it locked down, which, by the way, I appreciate that. Diggs does not think he has that at all, but to err on the side of caution, said, hey, go get tested, and then you'll come back. Yeah, T's and P's to Diggs. Hope you feel better.
Yeah. Good luck.
Come on,
Dude.
Tony.
T's and P's, Tony.
Good luck, Tony.
Good luck, Tony.
Good luck,
You can do this, Tony.
Good luck, Tony. Let's go, Tone.
Babe,
Come on.
If you could send him tweets at Tone Diggs
Yeah.
with a Z at the end there,
Yep.
tell him we're pulling for him.
Yeah.
I think it was a smart move, though.
Oh, yeah. It takes all of us.
Had to do it.
You did it early in this entire thing.
Yep.
It was maybe 3 weeks into the entire
Yeah, it was
quarantine.
when the hysteria was at, its peak, pretty much.
Ty wakes up, feels like shit. I'm going to stay home, self-quarantine here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Gets tested, comes back. All right, here we go. Back in the game.
That's right.
It's a smart thing what we're doing here.
Have to do
How
it.
about the Big Ten would keep Tone or you out of here for 21 days? We'll talk about that and all of the NFL. On the other side, we have a guy named Michael Lombardi joining us, who former GM of the Cleveland Browns. He's an advisor for a long time at the New England Patriots. He is co-host of Hammered Down, our gambling podcast. When you hear this guy speak about football, some people have come out against him, obviously. Jason Kelsey called him out in the Super Bowl speech, and he owned it, by the way. This dude will own it. He understands. But this guy has forgotten more football, maybe than anybody else has ever learned. There's probably a couple up there. I assume Belichick is up there.
Yeah.
The football conversations he has and his ability to just be incredibly blunt with it. I'm excited for this conversation. He's been hot, too, in the gambling world. It should be a lot of fun. We'll be back on the other side with Michael Lombardi. We'll talk about the world that is the sports world. And Aaron Rodgers joins us in the third hour. Let's go. And potentially Johnny Hekker in the second.
What?
I don't know. I sent him a text. He's probably out, celebrating all damn night.
Yeah. Rightfully so.
With his family, by the way.
Oh, super dad.
He is a super dad. Anytime I ever talk to him, I FaceTime him, he's super dadding at the moment. Last time he was on, he played guitar.
Yeah,
remember?
he did. Yeah. Nice little melody.
Yeah, he shredded a little bit. He's like 6'6", by the way.
Yeah, they got a
monster of a guy.
Can they move the yardage back? Because that 20-yard punt to the 5 was a 75-yard punt, but only registers as like a 63.
Yeah, it makes no sense that the field goal kickers get from the spot where the ball is spotted.
Exactly.
Punters get from the line of scrimmage, because that's the only part that matters, by the way, is how much you gain. Oh, that's the stat.
You see.
You see. That's probably why I just figured it out, by the way, because I've been bitching about this for a long time. Because you're punting the ball from about 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Some people line up at 13 if they have a short step. Some people line up at 14. Some people line up at 15, depending on how long their steps are. But normally, block spot, kick spot, about 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So whenever you see a 63-yard punt, that's a 73-yard ball in the air.
Exactly. Come on. Show some respect.
A little bit. All right, let's get to a break. This is Pat McAfee Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
All right, everyone knows where I'm going. 44.5. It's way too high. Give me the under.
Jesus.
Let me tell you why.
Another night of this.
Chicago O is 27th in the league in points per game.
Ever heard of
29th in yards per game. 26th in points per play. 30th in yards per play. 29th in third down conversion. 26th in red zone scoring. 28th in yards per rush. 29th in yards per pass. Those are not good.
No
Those
way.
are absolutely, and they're Chicago D All top 10, all the categories. Top 10, all the categories. Neither of these teams in the last 3 games have gone over 40 points in their game. Okay? Each have gone under in their last 3 games. Okay?
Okay.
I'll be taking the under tonight. Thank you very much.
Hold on, I'm joining you.
Are you?
Yeah, I'll come in. I'll hate football for a night. Like, that's what you do. The underbetters hate football. I'll come with you. So we want everybody to fail. We want everything bad to happen. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Mr. Aaron Rodgers. How was the bye week? You weren't allowed to leave. You weren't allowed to do anything. What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I had the COVID test every morning, just like all of our guys.
Make sure you vote. Listen, if you don't vote, not have an Aaron Rodgers Tuesday ever again, okay? Make sure you vote.
First Tuesday in November, right? So we're just going to skip this show.
No. Did you watch anything like maybe Ted Lasso during the bye week to help that entire thing out?
I didn't watch Ted last night.
Jesus.
Come on.
Unbelievable. Don't vote, Aaron. Hey, don't vote.
You know, we had a tent in nature, just camping on my own property.
You camped out on your own property during the bye week?
Yeah, I'm kidding about that.
Oh, my.
Did you really wear number 40 at West Virginia?
Yeah, it was my GPA and my favorite drink.
Oh, you are wearing shorts.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Pat doesn't believe me that they don't give Toradol shots there.
They don't. Yeah, they don't give turtles shots. But Age would drink this green legume drink that I'm sure was legal, but it made his body he had the worst gas you could find.
How do you maintain that high level for so long? Is it like super competitive? Like you have to be an ultra competitive human being to be a quarterback?
Well, I think it starts with being hyper competitive. You know, I think that's a trait with all the long time great players is you just have. I love to compete. I think the most important thing is you have to be self-motivated, and again, that may seem like a standard statement, but it's not. I mean, not every player is self-motivated.
Hey, how's Jordan Love doing? We don't hear much about him.
You know, this is a good time for him to learn, to see what it looks like, to see what the week's preparation look like, and just kind of soak it all up.
And does that change where you throw the ball to people if they're more of a body catcher or a hands catcher or anything like that?
You know, anybody that catches the ball with their hands, it just changes the whole catch rate. It changes the whole confidence you have in throwing them. But anybody that naturally catches the ball with their hands probably gets a few more looks. I would say this: there's places that I would like to go in the future, and one of them is Egypt.
Ooh. When were the pyramids and the Sphinx? When were they constructed? Also, like, what kind of technology did they use?
It was aliens. Say it.
Yeah, it was definitely aliens.
Bingo.
Whoa.
Yeah, there it is, by the way. I didn't think I could continue to be an FCC regulated person without really hitting my max potential.
And that's why he's with us.
I love it.
The Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. Aaron Rodgers, Tuesday, October 27th. This song is called Don't Leave Me Lonely by the Late Night Special Band.
That's right.
This is a late night special.
This is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, good afternoon special as well.
How you doing?
Maybe they should be all day special because they are not giving themselves enough fucking credit. All
That's a
right.
good point.
Daytime special.
Listen, some sandwiches and some food are late night specials, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a place called Sandwich U, I believe, or U Sandwich or something in Morgantown. Fuck,
yeah.
they're good people. I had a sandwich named after me there for a while. You go there 2, 3 a.m. It's the only time they're really open, late night.
Late night special.
It is a late night special. Get like 2 chicken tenders on a sub bun.
They opened one at U of I
excuse me?
called Fat Sandwich.
That might be it.
Yeah. so
Nacho
good.
cheese on it.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I used to order the Fat MILF all the time.
Oh, there it is. That's a sandwich, I
Yeah,
assume.
it is.
Yeah.
That's the one with the chicken.
Yeah,
the
because the
mozzarella
fat
sticks.
blunt is the one that has the yes, all these sandwiches. Yes, fat. That's it. That's the
Fat
name
Sandwich,
of it.
yeah.
Fat Sandwich Company.
Wow.
They're
It's
a
so
late night
good.
special. They are only a late night special. I tried those in the afternoon one time when I was bro, it was
Poop
bad.
your pants. I can imagine.
I almost had me like turn off the sandwich shop at late night because of how bad it was during the day.
Mm-hmm.
But you couldn't tell me nothing after the bars that thing. That thing was a late night
Late
special.
night special, baby.
And by the way, greatest late night special I've ever had in my life. I wish they would be opening. That company took over Morgantown for a while. But that band we just listened to, that's not like that.
No, it's an all-day feel.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. What are they doing?
Come on, guys.
All right. Joining us now to talk about football. This is a sports show. Guy's former general manager of the Cleveland Browns, a man who was an advisor for the New England Patriots. He's the host of the GM Shuffle. He writes for the Daily Coach, which is a newsletter that shows up in your emails. They're awesome. They're like motivational things, little tidbits. Guy hosts shows for VSiN. He writes for The Athletic. And he knows more about football than any human I've ever talked to in my entire life. Italian man, Michael Lombardi.
Nice to be here, Pat. Nice to be with you, Pat. Thank you.
Hey, I always thought I had a lot of jobs. Whenever I was going through my vitamin brain there, listing off all the things that you did, I realized quickly this guy does everything at the moment.
I try to be busy. I like writing, and so that keeps me busy. And talking about football, it's really not a job. It's just fun. It's something I've done my whole life, since I started in the league. You handicapping games. When you're a pro personnel director in the National Football League, you're basically handicapping teams. And I've been able to take that and use that kind of knowledge and broad base it into this world that we live in today, where people can make bets on their telephone and break down teams. So it's been fun for me. I love it. And I have never, when I worked on my uncle's trash truck here in Ocean City when I was 17, that was work. I haven't worked since then, really, to be honest.
Paisan. First of all, people putting bets on their telephone. Jesus, come on. I think you just say phone there. You didn't have to. Yeah, come on,
telephone,
Paisan.
that's right.
Right. I don't know if they're picking it up off the wall and they're like, hey, let's call it in. By the way, you probably used to have to call in bets, I'd assume, back in the day, but obviously you know nothing about that because you've been in the game for so long. And that feels like a good path, by the way, for GMs to go. You're a GM, okay? You know more about football than almost every human on earth at this point. Not all GMs. There's some bad GMs, but most good GMs. You want to retire, you don't want to do TV, just give out gambling advice because the way you have helped me gamble this year, I am very, very thankful for.
Well, I appreciate that, but you're on a hot streak. You're a lot hotter than I am. We took a lump last night on the Bears, which we should have known better. Are there two Nick Foles? That's what I really want to know. Because, there's two of them. Sometimes he's really good and sometimes he's really bad. There's no in between Nick Foles. You don't even get a decent. You either get a great one or a bad one.
What happened? Johnny Hecker just dominated that game, and I went on a 20-minute, at the beginning of this, I went on a 20-minute run about why the punter position is an important one and why it has been for a long time and why people like Bill Belichick talk about it, why people like Jim Tressel called it literally the most important play in football because it is just a territory game where you're trying to gain more territory. Why do some people have no idea about special teams? You think it's strictly because TV people don't know about it and never talk about it, or because it's not as sexy?
Penalties in the kicking game are disastrous, right? So you're supposed to have the ball at the 45-yard line, but there's a penalty on the kicking play, and now your drive starts at the 15. Well, that's a 30-yard penalty that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. It's hidden yards. You can't find it. You can't find that number anywhere. And, when you look at that one Super Bowl that was played in Indianapolis, the Giants punter, he was the reason they won the game. I know they gave the MVP to Eli, but the Patriots starting field position in that game was the 23-yard line.
Steve Weatherford was that punter, by the way.
Yeah, I know. But nobody wants to talk about it. You play on a long field, you've got to get a bunch of first downs. You got to, and if you're not making explosive plays like the Bears can't do, then the drive's going to stall. And now that they're calling holding against the offense, drives are really stalling now.
Last night, was that more of the Los Angeles Rams are for real, even though 4 of their wins are against NFC East teams, or was it more the Bears were who everybody was saying is the worst 4-1 good team, 5-2 team there is?
I think if they played that game in Chicago, it'd probably be different. If they played that game in Chicago in the cold, it would be different. I don't think Goff could have traveled back to Chicago when the temperature dipped below 35.
Ooh.
I think Goff's one of those players. You should really look at your smartphone and as the game is going, decide how you want to play him, because his body language tells you everything you need to know. And I didn't think that last night, even though I didn't think he was sharp, I thought there was a sense of energy by the Rams. I think if they played each other 10 times, I think the Rams would win 6 and the Bears would win 4.
Okay, why? So you're not giving up on the Bears at all? Like, you think last night they had terrible field position at all games, so it's not really a fair indicator of how terrible their offense is or how good their offense is, because it's a completely different playbook back there. You think they potentially get back into a little bit of a run, or you think they'll just be able to show much better football team than they showed last night?
I think anytime they play against a good offense that could score against their defense, Green Bay, for example, they're going to have a hard time with Green Bay. If the game's in the 20s, the Bears have to basically check out. They have to fold their hand. They're never going to get in the 20s. They rank on my power rankings. They're the 27th offense in football. And, for all the luster around Matt Nagy's great offensive mind, BU on his call sheet, his offense is really, whether it's been with MVP Mitch or with Foles, he'd rather run a triple reverse to get 1 yard than actually run the football and play with physicality. He's in Chicago and he plays soft. I'm not a big fan of their offense. I think anytime they play against a good offense that has to score, if they play Kansas City, they can't beat them. If they play Tennessee, can't beat them. No way. Because they can't match the score.
I love how matter-of-fact you are, by the way, knowing for sure that those games could happen and come back to bite you in the ass. You're so matter-of-fact because you've been around football so much and you know so much about football at this point, where you're just like, yeah, they're going to suck. They have no chance against that. They'll win here. They're going to stink against this team. And you're just so matter-of-fact. That's why Jason Kelsey had to call you out on that stage, because of how matter-of-fact you are.
I wonder what he's thinking right now. I like to know that one. I think the football game.
That was a little bit of it.
Michael!
Hey.
I think football's a game of matchups. I think, look, the Eagles on my power ranking, they have the 26th vertical offense. I mean, they're not playing very well either right now. But football's a game of matchups, right? It's always about how your team fits, how your team plays. We all thought Pittsburgh was a tough matchup for Tennessee because they could slow them down a little bit. Whereas Tennessee's playing Cincinnati. Cincinnati will move the ball, but eventually that game, Tennessee will take it over this week. And that'll become a hard game for Cincinnati to win. So it's always about the matchups. And when you're a team like Chicago that's built on just your defense alone, you play Carolina, that's a good game because you can hold Carolina down. But you play a team like the Rams that can score, or San Francisco that can score points because of their offensive coordinator, you're going to have some issues.
The matchup thing is what people talk about for Bill Belichick, how their offense every week is different. They have a new game plan. They're going to attack your weaknesses. They're going to expose them. They're going to take away. They're going to make you play left-handed, which is kind of a shot at lefties, by the way. I don't think playing left-handed is anything bad, but you get it, make them play left-handed. Is that because of the matchup mindset? And did you develop that before you got there, or was that just kind of the similar minds we think alike because we're smart about football thing?
I think I don't know about being smart, but I think we think alike. I think football's a game of matchup, right? I think that, the way we see the game, the way Al Davis taught me the game, from reading about him to working for him, was always about matchups. Like last night, like if I'm coaching the Bears, whoever the opposite corner is, whether it's Troy Hill or anyone else, I'm throwing the ball at him the entire game. I'm making him know that I'm coming after his ass. Like, I'm going to set it up so I'm coming after you, and you're not getting off the hook. I mean, Andy Reid does it all the time. Andy Reid does it every week. Andy Reid, basically, when you're done playing him, he's told you what he thinks about your defense. Those are what good coaches do. They tell you when the game's over what they really think about your team. Well, and if you just run in plays, it's called what I call battleship football. You ever play Battleship as a kid?
Oh yeah, I sunk all those and bang,
G3 hit, boom, G4 hit. It's like that's the way Nagy calls a game. Well, let me look at my sheet and see what I can call now. Like, go after that other corner. He can't cover anybody. Go after his ass, and make him earn his keep. And there's not a lot of coaches in the league. They're all scheme oriented. They don't care. Some coaches, you can put a Coke machine at left corner. They won't throw the ball over there the whole time.
Why is that? Is that just two different philosophies on football?
It's two different ways. And then here's the other thing that I think makes it different. And this is an Al Davisism. is the great coaches can evaluate players. They can evaluate talent. So that evaluation ability allows them to know who to attack. Whereas there's some coaches, and you've been around them, Pat, some coaches just don't know talent at all. They just don't understand talent. And so they really can't break the game down from players and plays. They just break the game down from plays. And you got to be able to combine players and plays together. It's one of the problems I think the Patriots are having this year because they haven't had an off season. And they really rely on that off season to really allow them to understand who their players are and what their strengths and weaknesses are.
Okay, so we could dive into that Patriots conversation, but I think the whole world thinks they're dead. Not 100% sure with Bill Belichick you're ever dead, but I would like to go back and talk to you about the Coke machine thing that you put out there. Yeah. What? And I assume this is why Bill Belichick had a lot of respect for Peyton. And I've told the story a couple of times. I saw it whenever I was a rookie. I was watching the game. It was the first time I noticed it because on TV, I don't think you get a chance to see it. A corner got hurt and jogged off the field. Some number 40-something came jogging in or some late 30 number came jogging in. And I watched Peyton literally just watch the guy jog all the way over to the corner position. And then I saw him look at the guy. And then I saw him attack that guy 7 straight times and we scored a touchdown or whatever. And then the next time we went out, same guy they tried to move a safety over. He just went at him the entire time. And I was like, oh, this guy is a savage. Like that is, by the way, it's what you should do in every sport. If you're playing ping pong against somebody and you find out they don't have a backhand, fucking feed that backhand. It ain't about how entertaining this game is for everybody to watch. Let's go ahead and get the dub and get out of here. I wonder why that isn't a universal mindset when it comes to competing. That's the easiest way to get a win. Is that what we're here for or is that not what we're here for?
I think it's hard for some coaches to evaluate the talent. I really do. I think they can't see it like Peyton. Like, Belichick writes up personally every defensive back, every linebacker on the team he's getting ready to play. And then he has a meeting with the quarterbacks to go over every defensive back and every linebacker they're getting ready to play. So when the second team corner, 13 corner comes in who hasn't played, they already know he's from Virginia. He's 5'11", 5. He runs 4'8". He's got really bad ball skills. Whatever it is, they already know it. It's like Al Davis used to make the defensive coordinators, used to piss him off too, Pat. He would make the defensive coordinators sit in the draft room and discuss the quarterbacks in the draft. And they would like, why am I going to sit here? I'm wasting time. Because what Al wanted to make sure that when a quarterback when there was an exchange, when, out goes the starter and in goes the backup. When my man Fanucci goes in, I call him Fanucci from The Godfather. When the kid from James Madison goes in for Dallas, boom. Like, the coordinator for Jack Del Rio should know exactly who that kid is, how he plays, what he does, what he likes to do, because he scouted him before. You can't get ready for a game if you don't know that.
Man, it sounds like Al Davis. I didn't know Al Davis was this mass. All I knew is Al Davis loved speed, always drafted speed, and just win, baby. I didn't know that Al Davis was like a football mastermind like this.
He was great at understanding matchups more than any person I've ever been around. He taught it to Parcells. And Parcells taught it to Belichick. And he was also really good at game management. If you called a timeout with 2:05 with 2:06 to go in the half, you would have not made it back on the team plane. You would have not made it back on the team plane because now that gives the defense the offense a chance to throw or pass. Right? We're trying to get the ball back. We want them only to run the ball. We don't want them to run and throw. His game management, understanding that, like let's say, you're backed up for a punt. Nobody practices this. No one really. They do in New England. I'm sure they do in other places. But every week you should practice when the team has the ball on their own 1-yard line, right? They have the ball on their own 1-yard line. How many plays does an offense really have backed up like that? They run a fullback, they run a dive, they run fullback in the flat, they run a 9 route. They run about 4 plays. They don't stand back there and hold the ball to run choice or to run bingo cross. They stand back there to get it out. So if you practice those 6 plays they run and you stop them, you're going to get the ball back where? 40-yard line, 1 first down, you're kicking a field goal. That's situational game management football. That's what Al Davis was all about.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I used to practice those 1-yard line punts. I hated them. I used to jog out on the field just like, this is the worst thing on earth. You have to get it out quick. You can only take like a half a step the whole thing. And by the way, you have to catch it. It's not even like you can find the laces. It's just like catch it, put it down, and get it out of there. It's a very difficult punt to do, which, by the way, sets up to your point. You're getting the ball in points territory. As soon as you get that ball, you're getting points as soon as you get it.
Like when Teddy Bridgewater took that sack the other night against New Orleans, Al Davis would have gone berserk. He would have blamed the coaches, not Teddy. He would have blamed the coaches, not Teddy, because he wants quarterbacks to know we can't take a sack. Like if you're at the opponent's 5-yard line and you take a sack, what's the big deal? You're going to kick the field goal. If you hold the ball too long there, you're going to kick a field goal. But you take a sack at their 35, and now you're back at the 42. That field goal becomes a lot harder. So it's that kind of stuff that he constantly wanted the players to teach, to learn and understand it. Same thing that happens in New England. He teaches a class in Football 101 from the time the players show up in April until they start playing. They don't have that this year.
Well, yeah. Well, Hoyer obviously missed that every single time. Took a sack, end of the half. Oh, my God. Ty Schmidt, what do you got?
Michael, you mentioned a couple times on Hammer Don so far this year that you think the trade deadline is going to be pretty active. If you were the GM of the Packers, wouldn't you be trying to either get like another explosive piece for Rodgers or someone to maybe shore up like the defensive line or the linebackers? If they're not doing anything like that, does that mean that they're just comfortable with their personnel? Obviously, the cap is part of that, but like, why they see this window? Why aren't they going for it?
It's kind of like their philosophy since Ted Thompson was there. I mean, they've never really been a free agent team. Ted Thompson would only sign college free agents or the draft pick. They were very one-dimensional. But if I was Gutekunst, I would be active as hell. I would want to find the piece that I could get. I would have been all over Antonio Brown. To put him on that team, it shifts the balance of power, and it makes you more competitive. When you put him next to Devontae Adams, assuming that he's going through all his off-the-field issues, yeah, I think strength builds strength. And I think as a general manager, when the season starts, you have to make at least 10 moves to make your team better during the season.
How do
you have to recognize what those 10 moves are. And some of those moves impact the next year's team, but some of them impact this year's team. And you got to be there. The problem is some of these GMs are at Texas A&M, they're at Toledo, they're at some college campus, and they're not watching the practices to understand what they really need. Baltimore does, getting in Dockway. I mean, they got a fifth rusher. Here's why they do that. They get a fifth rusher so that they can rush 5 against an offensive line, and they don't have to run those overload pressures that Mahomes was eating alive. Every time they ran an overload pressure, Mahomes slid the protection. He got him in the right protection. He threw the ball. He killed Baltimore.
I have a question.
Baltimore can play balanced, rush 5, and get home.
I have a question. Whenever you're signing like Antonio Brown, who I think we all agree that Antonio Brown is a touchdown maker. Okay, that's what he is. He's a very, very good football player, obviously. And the old adage is be who you can afford to be in some places and all that. How do you know whenever you're signing Antonio Brown? Like the question is that a lot of people have, not us. I think if you get him in the building, he respects Tom Brady enough. He'll want to be focused in because of that. He doesn't want to let down Tom or whatever. And I think he's trying to come back. But there's a lot of people that are like, hey, the Buccaneers seem to be hitting their stride. Now, granted, Chris Godwin's going to be out for at least a week because of a fractured finger or something that he got this weekend. But there's a lot of people who are like, why are we trying to fix something that maybe isn't broke right now that could potentially be a disaster in the locker room? Some people think that. I'm not saying we do, but there is that thought. How do you feel about how do you balance that alongside adding talent too if you're a general manager?
Well, I think, the culture's got to help you, right? So I think Brady's probably told them, look, I got Antonio Brown. I was with him for 13 days. I got him. He won't be a problem. I promise you. I'll handle him. And I think the same thing could happen up at Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, like, I got that dude. I'll handle it. Devontae Adams and me, we'll take care of it. We'll get this under control because it'll help us. Now, do I want to stay with them for 6 years? Probably not. That marriage won't last. But for the next 10 weeks, I think we can make this thing work. I think there's a part of the season where you have to really evaluate your team and say, we really have a legitimate chance to get to the Super Bowl, a legitimate chance to get there. Baltimore has it. Kansas City has it. Pittsburgh has it. Tennessee has it. They need to strengthen their defense. But there's some teams that might be playoff teams. Maybe New England makes it. Maybe they don't. But they're not one player away from really making themselves a Super Bowl team. They need more than just that.
Very interesting.
Speaking of New England, Mike, obviously everyone's talking about the struggles on offense, but the defense didn't force a punt against the Broncos or the Niners till the fourth quarter. So my question for you about the Patriots is, do they just fucking stink, or are they going to turn around and this is just a 2-game skid?
It's a great question. A lot of people are asking that question.
I think they lack team speed on defense. I think they lack team speed on offense. I think that they tried to play a lot of nickel against Denver. They try to get faster by playing smaller people like they did against Kansas City. intensity, and they don't have enough power, enough girth. I think they missed a ton of tackles against San Francisco. I think they didn't set the edge. I think they need to improve. There's no doubt. I think their talent level, they're very young on defense, and I think that's costing them. And I think the other thing is, remember, when your Mike linebacker's slow, your Mike linebacker is slow, your defense is slow. And Bentley's a good player, but he's not a fast player. So their defense is slow, and you could attack the edges of their defense because they're slow. And I think that's one of their biggest issues. They've got to get faster on defense. And the way you do that, how do you know a team's fast on defense? Go to the stat sheet and look at how many forced fumbles the defense creates. Not how many they recover, how many they create. Because it's the true theory. Power and mass equals violence, and the ball comes out. And the Patriots just don't do that. They don't have enough physicality or speed in their defensive front seven to create problems.
What did you think of DK Metcalf's speed on defense the other night? That was outlandish, dude.
That was unbelievable. And I get, his effort was more unbelievable than anything.
Absolutely.
I mean, the fact that he never gave up on the play and his commitment and his team effort. On one hand, we see that play, and then we watch Andy Dalton get hit, and no Cowboy player goes over there to pick him up.
Ooh.
So
hey,
that's messaging in the locker. That's messaging.
Hey, that can't happen. By Jerry Jones, we have a clip. We have a clip for Jerry Jones getting interviewed this morning. I'd actually want to hear you react to this because you've been a general manager. You've been up there at the top where Jerry Jones sits. He's getting interviewed now about the locker room, and this was, do we have this, Foxy? His response, he basically told the guy to shut up and let him answer in the middle of it because I think Jerry Jones is getting sick of either seeing the headlines about the locker room or whatever he's trying to bury it. This is his answer here.
Where would you have a leadership void? Is it an experience void? Is it a talent void? Is it a leadership void? I'm not trying to be cute here. The answer is no. The answer is no.
I'm asking.
There's not a. Well, just shut up and let me answer. No. When I go into the locker room, there's no leadership void in my eyes.
Wow. Well, then after that,
key line right there to the sentence.
What?
When I go into the locker room, there's no leadership void. Well, they're never going to not tell the owner, the man who's writing their checks, if there's a void. They're going to tell him what he wants to hear. That's part of leadership. That's what happens to you when you own the team. People only tell you what you want to hear. You got to have some contrarian views of what's going on. And if Jerry can't see it, look, Jerry's in a profession where I know he's in the Hall of Fame, but he got there for his marketing skills. As Bill Parcells once said about Jerry Jones, he could talk a cat off the top of a fish truck. He's really good at that, right? He's really good. But his football acumen is what needs most today. So he's got to decide what's wrong with his team. Is it players, coaches, or scheme? When you give up 173 yards a game rushing, and you can't hold anybody under 40 points, you got problems in all three areas. But you got to identify where's the key area. The key area is scheme and coaching. So there's leadership voids in those two areas. And as a general manager, you don't need to walk in the locker room to know that. Just watch the tape. Watch practice what they're teaching and what they're doing on Sunday. That's the connection. Practice execution becomes game reality. If you can't tell the difference in the tape, then you're really making a mistake. And Jerry is showing that he's really more of a fan than he is truly a football expert because he's answering the question based on what people tell him. It's what he needs to know, what he needs to observe is the answer to the question.
Wow. Jeez, that was incredible. What an answer right there. So you're saying, like, your answer in of itself is already showcasing that you are out of touch with your actual team and what's happening. Now, the interesting thing here, though, is whenever he was running the team, right, way back in the day, he had success, right? There was success there. I would assume that's potentially because of coaching and everything like that. But people always fall back on that response whenever people say that Jerry Jones should get his hands out of the football side. They're like, well, he did have a little bit of a dynasty-type run with the Cowboys back in the day whenever he was running it. Was that him? Was that somebody else? And has he just lost it?
That was Jimmy. Give him all the credit in the world, and he deserves this for hiring Jimmy. When he hired Jimmy, nobody thought Jimmy was a good coach. Everybody thought Jimmy was a college coach. When he hired Jimmy and paid him $1 million a year, paid him a $10 million, gave him $10 million contract, $1 million a year for 10 years, the National Football League went berserk. But Jerry was so smart, he went to Apex, which is no longer a clother out in business anymore, which would be the equivalent of Nike or Reebok or Adidas or Puma, whatever. And he went to them and said, look, you can control my sideline. I'll give you all the Cowboy paraphernalia. You pay me $10 million for the next 10 years. They said, sure. So there's Jimmy's contract covered right there. Jerry didn't even pay for it. And he put all their merchandise on. And that started the NFL controlling the sidelines. That started the NFL having parallel deals. Before, go back to some of those old tapes. You'll see Belichick with a starter jacket on. You'll see Parcells with an APEC jacket on. The guys were selling the sidelines like it was their own business.
Well, Jerry's done great business for the Dallas Cowboys and the NFL. We have to do great business for Sirius right now. We have a hard out in 30 seconds for hour one. Mr. Lombardi, incredible conversation, sir.
Anytime. Have a great day. We'll get it back on Hammer Down.
Hey, you're damn right we will.
You bet.
In the second hour, we might have Johnny Hecker. We'll take some phone calls. We will also chat about everything happening in the sports world. If you want to call us, it's 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. Go take the shit. We'll see you on the other side here on Sirius XM. Yeah, it's a dumb question from a dumb person. That's a part of a dumb community, the internet wrestling community. Let's talk about hospital rooms, pal, shall we? Let's take a trip back to NXT TakeOver 30. You remember that? I gave Adam Cole all he could handle. I made a couple rookie mistakes, okay? Kicked the stairs, hurt my foot like hell. I mean, I almost shot those steel stairs over the barricade because how strong my leg is. But he took advantage of that rookie mistake because he's a scumbag, okay? I go up to the top rope. What am I doing? Don't need to go up there. I can finish the thing. I go up to the top rope. He takes advantage. Rookie mistake shouldn't have happened. After the match, instead of reaching out his hand, let's go shake the hands. Instead of doing that, he flexes on me. That's undisputed. That didn't sit lightly with me. No. And although I couldn't be hands-on with the dismantling of the Undisputed Era and Adam Cole, I knew there was a way that they could feel my impact. My YouTube page just hit 1 million subscribers. How you doing? Keep it moving. Sirius XM every single day just launched. How you doing? Keep it moving. Football season's in full swing. How you doing? Keep it moving. I can't be down there every single day, so I hired somebody to take care of my light work. I hired somebody that's a younger, more handsome, and more built version of me. Ridge Holland. You all saw it when he dumped Adam Cole's lifeless body over the barricade and walked it off. Who do you think bought him that Mercedes? That was me. You're welcome, Rich. Now, Ridge got hurt, T's and P's to him. I would not ask for a refund. You did your job. And now I had to look for a plan B. My guy that I was going to run alongside and take over NXT with is now out with a gruesome injury. Who should I call? Well, why not the guy that took out my guy? The psycho from Boston, Oni Lorcan. I reach out to him. I say, hey, pal, you want to make a little money, huh? You want to go on a little bit of a run? They said no. They lose the Undisputed Era. They call back. We make a deal. They take out the rest of Undisputed Era. Kyle O'Reilly, who's super noble, says, why don't you guys take the NXT Tag Team title shot tonight? It was perfect. I show up. We win the titles. Undisputed Era looks like a bunch of bums and stooges. And we're just getting started.
Short-winded Pulp Fiction, the post missing from the force driven, authentic, the work ethic, that concerns effort, a firm center up the curb better, be cautiously when you rockin' with the beat, on the top motherfucker, take the shoes up off your feet, kid, free kicks could be Nike or Adidas, speed kills, listen to the voice of reason, deep breaths, yes, don't fight the feeling, tick-tock, pop a doc, time to leave, kid, ba-da-ba-ba, the beat goes on. Ba-da-ba-ba, the beat goes on. Ba-da-ba-ba, the beat goes on. Yeah. Ba-da-ba-ba, the beat goes on.
Alright, here's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I've been feeling it, feeding off my confidence. Conscious, critical to content.
The Pat McAfee Show.
There will be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, October 27th, 2020, and hour 2 begins right now. We just went back and watched the clip. Lombardi said nothing. We overreact.
Yeah, we're fine.
It's all right.
It's Overreaction Tuesday.
By the way, it is, it's Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. Have a little respect.
Come on, dude.
Please have a little bit of respect.
Excuse me.
We overreacted, though. We carried over a little bit of Monday into Tuesday. That's all.
Hey, better to be safe than sorry.
I was so worried. I was like, oh, my God. As soon as I heard it. And then we watched it back. It's like, oh, it's nothing.
It's been a hectic morning.
All right. Anyways, 3 minutes in here to hour 2. Hour 1, we talked to Michael Lombardi. Hour 2, not 100% sure if Johnny Heckler will be stopping by. I've made the request. If he chooses not to, let's assume that he's busy doing something. Probably, I don't know, maybe GQ.
Yeah, perhaps.
Maybe GQ photo shoot, that socially distant photo shoot that maybe he's doing. Maybe he's on the cover of, probably on Sports Illustrated if I had to guess.
ESPN, the body issue.
Oh, my God, I didn't even think about a new Johnny Heckler right now probably happening.
Working on more punts, probably.
What I'm saying is I put him in a very unfair position. I texted him right before we went live, say, hey, if you have some time, we'd love to talk to you. And then we talk about it. And, I gave him 0 time to really think. It's kind of like the Big Ten. Kind of like what the Big Ten did whenever they decided to let football back after previously voting for them not to be allowed to have football when everybody else is doing that. They only give them 8 weeks. Okay, here's the deal. You guys got 8 games to play. That'll determine a championship game, so maybe there will be 8+1, which a lot of coaches are saying. And by the way, you want to play football, huh? You think you're so damn smart, huh? Oh, you got parents showing up at the Big Ten offices, protesting. Oh, okay, that's fine. Oh,
nice.
Oh, coaches want to come out. Oh, okay, coaches.
Fair.
Oh, the players. Oh, we want to play. Oh, do you?
Okay.
Oh, do you? Okay, well, here's the deal. 8 games, 8 weeks, that's it. No wiggle room. Good luck. You want to keep COVID up? Gonna have to, because if a single game's postponed, it'll be considered a no contest, which means you only have 7 games, maybe 6 games, maybe 5 games, maybe 4 games. And if you are a good team, and maybe you have seniors and juniors and guys that are gonna go to the NFL, and this is last year gonna be able to be together, too bad. No chance you get in the college football playoff because other teams are playing 11 games, 10 games, 8 games. And by the way, they're able to postpone, suspend, and move them, but not here. Just wanna let you know. You guys are so committed to football, huh? Is that right? You guys are so. We're gonna find out.
You'll learn today.
And by the way, player, if any, we saw you tweeting #we want to play. You want to play?
Sign that petition.
Oh, you want to play, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence down there in South Kakalaka. That's what you guys want to play?
You do, huh?
Is that what you want to do?
Fine, let's play.
You test positive. 21 days.
Oh!
3 weeks of the 8-week season. You're gone.
What if I'm asymptomatic?
No. 3 weeks. Stay in your room. Don't even look at a fucking football game. Graham Mertz has his second positive test.
Oh, jeez. The
Graham
backup.
Mertz, by the way, came onto the scene on Friday night and threw like 700 touchdowns, biggest night of his life, propelled him into the national spotlight because the Big Ten was back. And now he's gone for 3 weeks. By week 4 of the college or Big Ten, he won't be able to play. Sorry, by week 5 when he comes back.
There we go.
Wisconsin might be out of it completely. Yeah. They might have missed 3 games already at this point, so they're only playing their second game. There are so many things that can happen. What about the student human athlete? What about it? I said this yesterday, and we weren't 100% sure if the 21-day thing was real. And then it got projected out by a lot of people.
Turns out.
And a lot of people were like, well, that's not actually accurate. He didn't. Turns out he just tested, I guess, for another second. He is going into the 21-day protocol. Poor guy just had the biggest night of his life. Now he has to be vanished out of the facility and everything. Will he be doing school? Probably, because he's student first.
Better
and then,
have to.
Then a human second. That's why he needs to be locked in his room for 21 days. No interaction with his team except for on Zoom calls because of obviously COVID hit him. And every other league has if you have 3 negative tests, you can come back. Okay, congratulations, you come back. Now, granted, we don't know the effects 10 years from now, whether or not that's right, because it's hard to do 10-year testing whenever you're not
10 years in the future.
10 years into the future or whatever.
Sure.
So they're just being abundantly safe, just like they were being abundantly safe whenever they only gave 8 weeks for 8 games. This seems like a bunch of bullshit to me, and I'm not happy for Graham Mertz, and he's definitely going in there as of this morning with the second positive COVID test.
Lucky for Wisconsin, their 4th-string quarterback is itching to go because all 3 of them have it now.
Oh, jeez.
4th-stringer, though.
So
4th-stringer can play.
Yeah, he's a slinger.
What a nuke.
So that is a nuke, isn't it?
Oh, my gosh.
That's a negative nuke.
Yeah.
Cancel the season.
Oh, my
Nate's
God.
fault.
Well, don't cancel the season, but definitely don't postpone any games because
Well, that's
we don't have
Michigan
time. What?
That's Michigan State speaking for you. They want to cancel the season bad right now after that
yeah.
Rutgers debacle.
25-point dog at Michigan this
Yeah,
weekend.
haven't won
Bro.
a Big Ten game since 2017.
No. But
Spartans.
Shiano, dude.
Yeah.
Shiano's got his
True.
guys in there.
Yeah, sing us a song.
It was awesome to see that video come back from the Pardon My Take, folks.
Yeah.
I was a part of that in an RV during Grit Week across from New York over to Indiana. Learned so much in there. Those dudes are geniuses. Legit geniuses. Big Cat, PFT, Hank, absolute geniuses. And then when I first learned of Shiano, man, it was in the RV. And I started dying laughing, obviously, because the lyrics were so damn impressive. And yeah, that was awesome getting to see that video. And then I almost hammered Rutgers this weekend against Michigan State because Bear took Rutgers on the Bear board.
Yeah.
And on College Game Day, I said, your board's trash or whatever. And then during the commercial, I looked at his board and I was like, oh, that Rutgers play against Michigan State with Shiano, man, that is a good. So I sent him a text. I was like, that Rutgers pick looks delicious or something like that. And he was like, oh, I love it or something like that. And then lo and behold, Shiano, the man that came into the NFL for a cup of coffee, had his D lineman diving at the knees of offensive linemen during kneel downs, kind of burned every bridge he possibly could, is back at home in Rutgers. Maybe he's got the same thing popping off over there that he had at Rutgers whenever the dominant Big East was doing things.
Oh.
Yeah, and he had Ray Rice in there, obviously, and the other. I mean, Shiano maybe he's all the way back, or maybe I just saw that and I was like, well, Michigan State stinks, so
Could have been
that
that.
team's probably
rebuilding here. All right, we got a new coach. They're always bad at the beginning of the season, but I did not think they were going to lose that game.
Who's the new coach?
Mel Tucker. He actually coached AJ Hawk at Ohio State at one point.
Oh, plus by AJ.
Michigan State actually came out with a graphic of the highest paid NFL players that Mel Tucker has coached. AJ Hawk was number one on the list.
Wow. That's because AJ, negotiated his own deal.
Yeah. 6 years, $175 million.
It's like Gase and the Jets.
Middle linebacker, exactly. Middle linebacker getting drafted, 5th overall or whatever. He was on top of the world back there, that guy.
Yes, he was.
Throwing that big-ass head around. At Viva Lazzuto, your poll today is rather large. Obviously, it's great to look at. What is the poll and what are the results currently?
With over 26,000 votes, no big deal.
That's a big.
That's a massive poll.
Hey, that's a big poll.
Oh yeah. I know. Trust me. Who's the worst coach in the NFL? Adam Gase is leading it by 77.2%. Mike McCarthy, 13.1%. Mike Zimmer fought up to 2%, and Matt Nagy, 7.7%.
I will say that whenever you deliver the numbers that each coach has, I think we should reevaluate how you do that.
See, I don't like decimals.
Yeah, it does seem like the decimals potentially slow you down a little bit.
They do slow me down.
And do we start with the lowest number first and then work your way up to the highest number?
I do, but I read in order.
I know
it'll mess me up.
I know you have to write down because
Can't read between the lines.
And by the way, to your credit, I think as of late, you've been putting your favorites at the top and then down towards the bottom.
Smart.
Which, by the way, is smart. You're like handicapping the poll almost.
So I
for
usually
the
play a
readers.
game with the poll. If you notice, I always try to make sure it's like AT&T bars. Can you hear me now?
Oh, so it's like up all the way down or whatever. You have
Yes.
5 bars. You also, I think you set it up so when people read the first name, they're like, oh, nobody's worse than this one.
What do you mean?
And then they go to Mike.
Well,
Mike McCarthy is actually probably pretty thankful that you have him directly underneath Adam Gase now, I think.
Well, the best part, too, is that he put #OnePride in there just to take a shot at the Lions, even though Patricia's not even on the
I will
poll.
say there was a tweet below that Coach Patricia was on the list, and I forgot to take OnePride out, and then I actually subbed it in later on with a skull.
Matt Patricia's 500 right now.
All the way back.
All the way
Crushing
back.
it.
They outcoached old Raheem
We'll
down
check
there.
next week.
I can't believe Nagy made it on there. They're 5-2. I mean, Doug Marrone isn't even on that list.
By the way, we did forget about Doug Marrone.
We did forget about Doug Marrone.
So he'll be second place.
Oh, Doug Marrone is.
Wow.
After
Big
looking
Mike.
at the numbers.
Big Mike McCarthy
deserves to be second.
Hey, what's going on? Michael Lombardi said you got poor coaching, you got poor schemes, obviously, is what you have. That's what he said.
He's floating into that dangerous range. Like at the end of his tenure with the Packers, he was more concerned with what kind of deals they had at Golden Corral after the game than actually winning the football game. So
Let's go to Zachary in Massachusetts. What's going on, Zachary?
Goddamn
Michael
man.
McCarthy did not deserve that.
It's true.
That was
It's
unbelievable.
100% true.
What's going on, boss?
Holding a lunch menu instead of a game show.
What's going on, boss?
Oh, come on.
I'm a big Packers fan,
go back, go.
and so I love watching the games, but I've been noticing it seems like even the commentators and even on your show a lot, Packers are letting up big plays. And I feel like it's the tackling. And, like, do you feel like we could use, like, someone coming in trying to help our team with tackling? Or do you think it's something else?
Great question, Zach. I don't think we say anything about that. I think we talk about they are opportunistic, I believe is how we describe the Green Bay Packers defense. But there's some games, I think, where some things happen where you could probably go, well, they're not the stickiest defense, I don't think. But I think they do make big plays whenever they have to on more often than not, I think.
Yeah, they definitely do. And it is one of those things. It's kind of like, I mean, their defense isn't nearly as bad as the Seahawks defense is, but if their offense continues to put up, 35-plus points a game, you don't need your defense to be sterling every single week.
And by the way, that's kind of what Lombardi was alluding to whenever he was talking about the Chicago Bears. They're not going to be able to score with whoever, if a team can score against the Bears defense, which the Packers have that mindset. Like the Packers can score points.
In bunches.
Especially whenever your offense gets going and you call a timeout to stall everything.
Who are you talking about?
Mr. Nagy.
What do you do?
I mean, Foles started getting rolling, calling his own plays, gets things going. Timeout. We're done with it.
Why didn't that happen? I don't think I saw that. When did that happen?
First half when they were, it was still close.
I saw they were moving tempo early, which I liked, by the way, because if you remember back to that conversation a couple weeks ago, Foles was like this to Nagy, basically saying like, let's run tempo, let's go. Foles also said that Nagy sometimes calls some plays that Foles knows isn't going to work because he's not going to have enough time back there. I guess he either told Greasy, Riddick, or somebody else that. And then Nagy said he did not know that Foles said that.
Wait. Well, Nick actually after that too said he did not say that as well.
Oh, so we got misquote on the broadcast?
Greasy was very greasy on that.
Oh,
Greasy. Get him out.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he basically said that was a miscommunication, blah, blah, blah. And he did not mean it like in that sense at all.
Okay, all right. So I don't want to make too much out of that but that is a situation right there.
Yeah.
Potentially, by the way, I think Aaron told us this, where he'll get misquoted or something or out of context. I think it's potentially from that type of situation right there where they'll ask like, because when you're the commentator, you're trying to get information or whatever, and you ask like, who's your favorite target or whatever. And let's say you go like, well, in this situation, I like to throw this person. And on the broadcast, they go, we talked to him yesterday. He said his favorite target is this person. It's like, well, now all the other wide receivers are like, what the fuck's going on? And the commentator thinks that he's just putting something over that he learned about or whatever. But he could potentially be burning a goddamn bridge in the locker room amongst the things. So you could probably see why those conversations are normally very buttoned up. Whenever I got to do it for the Lions Packers, I took a lot of pride in the fact that everybody that walked in the room basically looked at me, started laughing, and sat down. Matthew Stafford opened the door, looked at me, started laughing, and sat down. Matt Patricia opened the door, looked at me, started laughing, and sat down. Aaron Rodgers opened the door, looked at me, started laughing, and sat down. Joe Philbin, the man who was the interim head coach at the time, who was in the same room as me while getting a massage in London for an hour and a half and heard me rattle off no less than 2,000 questions to the British people that were in the room with us about life and what life is like in there. So much so that he got up at the end of his thing. It was just an open room where there was like, a stretching, like a full thing, you know what I mean? He was in the corner. I didn't know he was in there.
Russian bathhouse.
We didn't really know Joe Philbin at the time, by the way. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. It was in the hotel. It was set up by the Indianapolis Colts, and I believe it was another professional soccer team's group or whatever, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So what you just said was the complete opposite and very...
I just Bob Greasy, you.
Yeah, exactly. Bob Greasy.
Brian's dad.
Old Robert Greasy's up there.
Robbie.
But Philbin got up at the end of that thing, and I didn't even know he was in there. Me and Vinatieri, I think we were probably laughing at something. I mean, it was a good time in there, right? We were... The questions... For about, I don't know, I maybe got stretched for like 20 minutes, and then I was just sitting in there while Vinatieri was getting all this like deep tissue stuff, which looked incredibly painful. That's where I bow out or whatever. So I'm just asking questions. Philbin gets up. I'm like, oh, Joe, I had no idea you were in here. And the only way I knew him was when he was at the Miami Dolphins or whatever, and he was on Hard Knocks or whatever. And he didn't seem like a guy that was that enjoyable, right? And then he comes to the Colts, and all the offensive linemen are like, oh, we love this guy. Like, this guy is awesome or whatever. That was my first time ever being around him. Whenever he gets up to leave that room or whatever, he goes, I go, I didn't know you were there. He goes, I'll tell you what, I didn't know what this was going to be like, but I never want to get another stretch or anything without you in the building. And then he said, I appreciate you, and walked out. And ever since then, every day on the field, Joe Philbin and I would talk to each other. And he is, I really was impressed by him as a human. And I think everybody that's ever played for him did the same thing. And he was funny, like very, very, very dry, but very, very funny. And we always had these great conversations. So whenever he gets the interim head coaching gig, right? The last time I'd seen him, I think I had said something publicly about something I probably shouldn't have. And he goes, why did you have to do that? Like the way he and I had a very good relationship. And as soon as he opens that door and he sees me, this big laugh, right? And then he sits down. And somebody asked a very serious question or whatever, and he answered it. And he goes, has Pat told you how we really met each other? Like in the middle of it, you know? And it was just like such a relaxed thing. And they said like, well, I didn't know what to expect from him or whatever. But I think those conversations are normally like very boring.
Yeah.
Like they are very, very, very boring. And I think it's because players don't want to say anything that could potentially be taken out of like a quote, and then it kind of can fuck something up or give something away that they don't want to give away. Because that type of information, as you're calling the game, you can naturally, probably, I would assume, give away somebody's strategy or something. So I think those are normally very buttoned up. I've only been a part of one of them for the NFL. And it was, I guess, very different than it normally is.
Do people know, too, like players and coaches, do they know, like, okay, this guy who will be interviewing me, he is known to kind of twist words?
I was
like greasy now.
I was never interviewed in those things. I didn't even know those happened.
Oh, okay.
I had no idea that those things were even happening. I thought there was maybe phone calls or whatever. And I would see them go out to practice. Like on Saturdays, they'd be at the walkthrough, the commentator sometime if it was a big game. But I didn't know there was a full sit-down session like there and then at the hotel. I did not know. I know it was kind of high. I was like, damn. I didn't know that all these quarterbacks are doing all these super cool things whenever I was just, passed out in my bed until a team meeting.
Tossing bags.
Just hanging out, trying to figure out what I was going to do. They're out there doing it. I did not know that all happened. So, I mean, I guess I would assume that they get a heads up, or a lot of people from the past probably tell them like, hey, this person did this to me or whatever. But I'm not sure. I've never heard that conversation. I've never been privy to those conversations. I thought I was going to get it one time. I was invited up there to do a feature or something like that, and I did. And turned out it was on a website that doesn't exist.
Oh, nice. Come on.
Yeah. I got a spray tan for it, the whole thing. I was like, oh, I'm getting a fucking feature. It was on my stand-up, like me doing stand-up and everything like that. I was like, here we go. It's going to happen. And they did a full feature, but it was nobody saw it.
Sons of bitches. Should Joe Philbin be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year?
I was a big Joe Philbin fan, man. I don't know how it worked out at the Packers. They lost 31-0 to the Lions at that point, but I think Aaron Rodgers got hurt on play 2 and all that. Yeah. I'm not sure if he wants to be a head. I don't know Joe Philbin that well, right? The only thing I know Joe Philbin is if we're around each other, good conversation. But it's not like I'm talking. He was I don't know. I think everybody liked him.
No, yeah. From what I remember, like all the players loved him. I believe he was in Green Bay either when they won the Super Bowl or something like that. He used to either be the QB coach or like a quality control coach. But they were never going to. Packers were never going to give it to him. They were going in a completely different direction. But from everything I have heard and like looking at that team, they all loved him.
Yeah,
too.
he was awesome, and I think Aaron potentially picked him as the head coach. Man,
give me Philbin.
Curtis in California, what's going on, pal?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Not too shabby, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I want to talk to you guys about Justin Herbert and the Chargers and how they're doing after getting their second win of the season.
Okay, great question, Curtis. Appreciate that. We all kind of thought, I don't know, I think the betting trend was to bet on them going into Jacksonville or whatever. Herbert's a guy, though. He is so good. It is, I don't know if Gumpy has any nukes about Herbert or anything like that or about the Chargers, but the whole situation revolving around Herbert and Tyrod Taylor is a sad one.
Terrible.
I mean, it's a sad one, obviously.
Unfortunate.
Tyrod Taylor goes to the Chargers. He's going to be the guy. Then they end up with the number 6 overall pick. Have to take quarterback. Tyrod Taylor's still a starter. Everybody's telling us that. GM saying that. Head coach is saying that. Tyrod Taylor's the guy. After getting run out of Buffalo to Cleveland, after taking Buffalo to the playoffs for the first time because Sean McDermott wanted to go in a different direction and sitting behind Joe. He's had to run around for his NFL career, and this was a year where, this is going to be Tyrod Taylor's shot. And in Cleveland, obviously, he gets hurt on a Thursday night game. Baker Mayfield comes in, never looks back, all that shit. You know what I mean? So when he gets hurt because the Chargers doctor stabs him with a golf tee in his lung. It was one of those tall golf tees.
Yeah.
Huge.
You know, the one where they, the guys...
Long drive ones.
Jumbo.
Yeah. Jumbo size tee. Stab him in the lung, puncture his lung, right? Which is something that could happen every single time that particular procedure happens, that happens 15 minutes before games because the amount of time that it works for is the exact time of a game. So basically, it has to be done moments before the game so that it hits in at the perfect time and remains a perfect time. And I guess a lot of people have gotten this done, and a lot of people have told us that they knew that that was always a potential outcome, but it hadn't happened since like 1995 or something. Like, so for 25 years, this has not happened. Or maybe it has happened, just not to a marquee player that we've heard about or whatever, but this is an anomaly. He gets benched. Herbert gets thrown out there against the Super Bowl champs. And I think everybody saw immediately like, oh, this guy's a dude. Like Justin Herbert, all the questions on whether or not he could handle a big city and an NFL or the NFL and be commanding in the huddle. Is he too docile to be an NFL quarterback? No. He is not. He's the complete opposite. He celebrates very hard. He seems to be chill. He knocked the motherfucker out.
Yep.
He is a dude. And I think that sucks for Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor continues to be put in incredibly unlucky positions. But Justin Herbert is going to be a guy for a long time. Joey Burrow, going to be a guy for a long time. Now we find out for the Miami Dolphins, who selected one pick ahead of the Chargers. And Tom Telesco, GM of the Chargers, on this show said that they were okay with either Tua or Herbert or Joey Burrow. They felt very good about all three. They thought they were all three going to be great. Now we find out if Tua is also going to be a dude with Miami, with a team that is in it in the AFC East all of a sudden.
Chargers went down in that game too, and that felt like a game that the Chargers would very much maybe win by one score. Herbert came back, they came storming back, and they ended up winning that game by a lot.
That's just like Herbert with Tampa Bay playing against Tom Brady. There was a couple times where if he disappeared or threw a pick or they did a 3-and-out or something like that, everybody would be like, Herbert's good. He's going to be good. He proved he's good. But this is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady did their thing, which ultimately they did. But the Chargers answered on a lot of occasions. Yeah. And it wasn't just an answer like hand the ball off, easy answer. It was him dropping like a 72-yard bomb and rolling out and hitting a target. I mean, Herbert's going to be a guy. And if you listen to Ryan Clark, I think, speak about him, I forget who it was. Somebody told us that whenever you stand next to Herbert, you feel how you felt whenever you're standing next to, I think it was Ryan Clark. When you're standing next to Cam Newton. He's a big dude. Yeah. He seems to have the arm talent. Everybody thinks he's awesome and cool. There's a couple of videos of his teammates fucking with him before the game and him laughing and going back. So he's a good teammate guy, it feels like. And he's in a wild time with this COVID protocol. I think if you're a Chargers fan, you're like, okay, we got a guy. Now, will you be able to build a team up around him that'll make you go on a run in a very, very tough AFC? I think that is the question to be asked.
Well, and their big thing is being able to stay healthy, right? Because it seems like they do have all the pieces they need there to like make a legit run. Now, granted, when you have Mahomes in the division, it gets a little bit tougher. But like they have a lot of pieces in place where if they stay healthy, they could make a run.
I think so. We got to get to a break. Yeah, that was a good conversation, though.
It's all in the health.
They changed OCs 3 times at Oregon when he was there, too, I believe. So that's kind of the reason why.
He's got Pep Hamilton there as quarterback coach right now. Pep Hamilton, formerly of the D.C. Defenders, the University of Michigan, the Indianapolis Colts.
Hell yeah.
Stanford.
Oh, smart man.
I forget where else he was. I had great conversations with that guy. Always did. I like the Hard Knocks episode of him challenging Herbert.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it's a good little pairing, those two. I'm excited to watch Herbert play football for a long time. And Joey Burrow.
And Tua.
And if you go down, and Patrick Mahomes.
Hell yeah. Deshaun Watson.
Lamar Jackson.
Dak Prescott.
Kyler Murray.
Mitch Trubisky.
Matt Ryan.
Tom Brady.
Matt Ryan was the outlier there in the run that we just went on.
Oh, I thought Trubisky was.
Oh, you shut your mouth.
No, Trubisky.
Undefeated still.
He's going to find a second home, and he's going to be doing that heel dance like Jameis did. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Atlanta.
Oh. That heel dance last night,
that
warm-up
awesome.
thing, Jameis is the best. Jameis is the best. Knowing full well that what he is doing out there is going to be a whole thing. After all the offseason of all the workouts he was doing, for him to do that, I fucking love Jameis Winston at this point.
I can't believe a fire didn't start on those feet. They were moving. I thought the turf was just about to ignite.
27 minutes into hour 2. We'll take some more phone calls on the other side and also some updates on some breaking news, if that has happened. Not 100% sure, to be honest with you, but we will find out. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. 126, almost 127 Eastern Daylight Time here on Sirius XM Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. a perennial Pro Bowler, an all-pro, a man who's aging like fine wines, Green Bay Packers legend, Super Bowl champion, from Butte, California, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers!
Please tell me that that's going to be a one-time thing.
What is the longest you've ever thrown?
Yeah, somewhere between 68 and 70, Pat. I don't know, right in that sweet spot.
69 yards is how far you threw it. Nice, congrats.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Of course you have, by the way. Of course you have.
With
That doesn't get you going for a game? Are you kidding me?
No, but I have a funny Creed story. So, in 2007, we're playing the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday night. We're 10-1. I have long hair. I'm a backup. And before the game, we walked down the field, and I don't know if it was on purpose, but our intro song was Creed with Arms Wide Open. I looked to my buddy Nate Weir, who AJ knows Nate really well, and we both said this is going to be a good night. And that was the night I came in off the bench and played pretty well and kind of changed the narrative about me from, possible draft bust to, hey, this guy might be able to play, maybe.
Thank you, Creed.
Yeah! My kids say, like, oh, if they see him on TV, oh, there's Uncle Aaron, look at that. Oh, Dad, is that Uncle Aaron's dog? I'm like, nah, it's a prop dog. They're like, well, what happens to that? I was like, oh, I think he hasn't killed after that.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Like, oh, no,
AJ.
no.
I noticed this past Sunday, you were smiling, shaking hands, giving a lot of high fives to the boys on the side. What have you seen in this old footage that has rejuvenated your love? Or is it something else about this 2020 season that seems to have you just in a better headspace?
Why am I having so much fun?
Bingo.
I have just a new and increased love of life. And I've made decisions and changes and habits that put me in a lot better headspace. And there's just a lot of things that have come together in my life over the last few months that have really been enjoyable and reminded me, given me perspective on life and in football to view things through the most positive lens I possibly can. And that's why I'm having so much fun. And it starts with love. And then surround yourself with people that you really enjoy. This show is, to get sentimental, this show is just another step in that, because I love Age so much. And Pat, I have so much respect for you and the boys. Like, this was such a fun opportunity. And now I look forward to this every Tuesday.
Say I got to go. There's this place down by the coast. Oh no. Oh mama, may I? If you say you think you know, well let me show you the way I go. Got a pop top, we can drop it down, take a ride on the way now. 'Cause we are young, feels good, let go, get down on the way now.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
Welcome back. I want to let you know that hour 2 here on this gorgeous Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, October 27th, 2020, is brought to you by the fine folks at Whoop. Whoop is a fitness wearable that provides daily personalized insights to you on your sleep recovery and how much stress you put on your body throughout the day from both your daily activity and the normal stressors of your life.
All right.
I used Whoop during my lead up to my wedding and my NXT debut.
Hell yeah.
That might be all the way back. I'll be on NXT tomorrow night.
Whoa!
What? I've been cooking up some shit. Hey, this is really cool stuff that I've been doing, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the wrestling thing is cool because the wrestling fans, they hate me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Because that's what wrestling fans do. Okay? Wrestling fans hate anybody that is potentially doing something they've dreamt of for their entire life. I used to be a wrestling fan, so I understand that feeling. But unlike all those wrestling fans, I can do it. You can't. You suck. Shut up.
Yep. You said it.
You know what I mean?
Sit down.
Just sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
And watch somebody that was in your position not too long ago now go ahead and dominate and appreciate it.
Amen.
Enjoy the show.
But also, they hate me, so I'm allowed to technically, because they hate me, hate them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not what I'm about ever. So it's been nice, actually, to be able to have a little bit of a hatred with people.
A feud.
Undisputed Era, wrestling community.
Yeah.
Hate them both.
There we go.
They both stink.
It's a blast. It's awesome. Anyways, I'm going to have to get back in shape.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, right now I'm just talking, hanging out, but I assume at some point that little scumbag Adam Cole is going to come out and run his stupid little mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And throw up his stupid little undisputed thing.
Loser.
And although I am in better shape than all the stooges of Undisputed Era at the moment,
Without question.
I should be at my tip top for when that situation pops off.
Oh, yeah.
So that I could potentially bust his skull again.
Yeah. Inflict maximum punishment.
Kick his soul out of his body, which I've already done. And I'll be wearing my Whoop Fitness wearable whenever I do that. Whoop uses your body's vitals, specifically your heart rate variability, sleep, resting heart rate, and respiratory rate as a baseline to provide you with a recovery score each and every morning. You can use this score as an indicator for how you should approach your day.
Oh, yeah.
One of the great features of the app is their Strain Coach, which takes your recovery score and provides a workout exertion recommendation so that your training is in line with how your body is feeling. You'll prevent overtraining when your body needs some rest and can push yourself when your body is ready to go. The app also has a sleep coach, which tells you how well you slept. You can reach your peak, perform, or get how, depending on what information you learn, you can be your absolute best. Whoop recently partnered with the NFLPA, where every player is going to receive a strap to track their body's vitals as the NFL prepares to finish off this incredible 2020 NFL season.
Wow.
They've done the same with the PGA, the LPGA, the University of Tennessee. Now, it hasn't worked yet on the field for the University of Tennessee.
Sure.
But with this Whoop band, all of them are going to be in better shape. There's brighter days ahead for the Rocky Top down there.
Oh, yeah.
Whoop is offering 15% off when you use the code McAfee at checkout. Go to WHOOP.com and enter code McAfee to save 15%. Sleep better, recover faster, and train smarter with Whoop today.
Whoop it up.
Whoop,
Whoop,
whoop.
whoop,
Whoop,
whoop.
whoop.
Whoa, whoop.
When you're using the Whoop, you learn so much about yourself.
You really do.
Yeah, you learn so much about yourself. You know those mornings where you're like, oh man, I slept like shit. You open up an app, very easy, and it's like, well, yeah, you actually did. Yeah, you never hit the peak sleep there. You never really got it. You're tossing and turning. We could tell by the sensors that are on your wrist that you're wearing here.
Yep.
You got about maybe 22 minutes of good sleep. So your current recovery or resting is at like 7 to 10%. So maybe take it easy today.
Should have saw my vitals pre-gout and post-gout.
Yeah, the gout really raises the vitals, but it teaches you the most about yourself so you can be the best you. Shout out to Whoop, and no shout out to the wrestling community or Undisputed Era.
Especially not that
course
rat
not.
fuck Adam Cole.
Whoa, what did he do to you?
Legit. What did you see?
Well said.
And we all know what he did.
Well said.
Hey, he could have extended his hand after the match. Let's go shake that hand.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Greatest debut match in WWE history.
By far.
It's a fact.
Numerous folks have said he could have said, hey, what did he do? He flexed on me afterwards.
Well, he's a jerk.
He is. Scumbag. I mean, you went very heavily on him.
Well, he is a
Not
rat
wrong.
Yeah, not wrong. Not wrong at all.
Not wrong.
All right, let's go to Colton in Tisdale. That's a place.
Arizona?
Is it? I don't know.
I believe so.
Tisdale?
Yeah.
It's in Canada, Saskatchewan.
Of course it is. Tisdale.
Regina.
Hey,
Yeah.
over there in Regina. Is that right, Gumpy? Gumpy, you don't know. I said Tisdale. He had no
No,
idea.
don't ask Gumpy.
That's what you're
Last-
supposed to be
last
here
time
for,
Gumpy-
Gump.
God
Jesus.
You are our Canada guy. Whenever I say a Canadian city as famous as Tisdale, I would expect a little, hey, there's one in Canada too, pal.
Hey, 25 kilometers from
Gumpy said-
Saskatoon.
Oh, yeah. 3 notches left.
Dumpy said Tisdale was, or Saskatchewan was in eastern Canada, and that gets you to Tillytown down here.
Oh, Tillytown.
Of course, bro. We've been talking about Tillytown here for a while.
Yeah, the Tillies.
Yeah.
That's what they call the people.
What do you
who
want to
live
talk about, Colton?
Well, how long is it going to be when tell old Bill's down there in Tampa with the boombox like Lloyd playing outside Tom's house there?
Oh.
Because it wasn't quite the Robert Kraft alleged happy ending that he thought it was going to be.
Oh, I see what you did there. A little tie
Allegedly.
Shout out to the Canadian hero there. Guy from Tisdale.
Tilly's.
What is that? What Tilly's is a store, right?
Yeah, but if you live in Tisdale, you are Tilly.
You are Tilly.
What is your town? What do you guys call it?
The Vickies.
Good question.
You don't even know. This dude is from Canada. He's the voice of Canada for our show. Canada, by the way, we have a massive fan base up there
Huge
because of
following.
Sirius.
Love Canada.
Sirius Canada is massive, we learned, and we have been learning. And we got it. I'm like, okay, we got the Canada guy. We'll have him come in. We love him. We enjoy Gumpy.
Pat, it's pretty clear you guys hired the wrong Canadian hero.
Oh, my God. Was that Bret Hart back there?
Holy shit.
You know, sitting up in Calgary and I'm listening to you guys and I wonder, why are you wasting the time? Why are you wasting your time, Pat? This guy's a phony.
Have you ever?
Nothing he ever does is real, when people listen to the Hitman, they know that, hey, this guy's a real Canadian, not this phony sitting on a couch.
Brett, you're pretty funny and charming.
Yeah, Brett, I had no idea that.
Whoa.
I just heard, the only time I've ever heard any videos of you as of late, it's like you're just bashing somebody, Brett.
No, Pat, don't let the negative media, just kind of portray the Hitman in a bad light. I'm a pretty charming guy,
What do you think of Hulk Hogan?
He's a real piece of shit.
That was a video that just came out just a couple of days ago. I've never met either of them, but happy to know that Bret Hart's just back there sitting on the phone anytime we need to chat with him. What do you think about wrestling, Bret Hart, just in general? What do you think about wrestling? What's your mindset towards that?
I gotta tell you, Pat, I always thought it was a breath of fresh air when you came in. A guy that really tells a good story. All these guys now, they just move too fast, Pat. Nobody sells.
Oh, it's the selling is the issue in professional wrestling. Is that what you're saying, Hitman?
Well, Pat, the selling is why people left the Bret Hart match and said, hey, that guy's real. What he's doing is legit. Not all this phony flip-flopping shit.
Oh, jeez. All right, Brett, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Have a good day up there.
Hey, you guys too. Take care, okay?
Are you in Canada right now?
Yeah, back up in Calgary,
You like it up there?
Pat, it's the epicenter of the world,
Is the Heart Dungeon really something to be scared of? I've heard that place is just a tough place to get through up there.
Pat, when you grow up and you hear, the screams of grown men like superstar Billy Graham and, Andre the Giant, my father Stu used to stretch him pretty good. And, yeah, the dungeon should strike fear in anyone's heart.
It sounds so much like it.
Yeah, it's wild.
I only hear Bret Hart speaking in these little clips or whatever. That has to be the best Bret Hart impression going, I think. That has to be.
By far.
I don't know how many there are, but that has to be at the moment.
No impression here. It's not phony. This is real.
All right, let's go to Vincent in New Mexico. Thanks, Brett. Appreciate that. The best there is.
The best there was and the best there ever will be.
Yeah, you're goddamn right, Brett. What do you want to talk about, Vincent?
Hi. How's everyone doing on this Aaron Rodgers Tuesday?
Not too shabby, man. About 25 minutes away from a chat with the man that you just mentioned there. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I myself am a big Seahawks fan, and being in the NFC West is terrifying.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, do you think it's possible for every team in that division to finish above 500 this year?
Interesting you say that. I think they gave an entire speech about how that is possible this year and how all four could make it or something like that. I don't remember if it was Al Michaels or if it was Steve Levy last night. Somebody said this week on commentary that there is a chance that all four can make it into the playoffs. That would be awesome. I don't know if that's ever happened before. I don't think it ever has, but somebody alluded to the fact that it is possible, and I was mind blown by it. I chose not to fact check that, so maybe you should, but it does feel like I recall somebody saying that it is possible all four could potentially make it.
The last time 3 teams made it from the same division was the Saints, the Panthers, and the Falcons, I believe in 2015 or 2016. But 4 teams have never made it, and it's only possible because of that 7th playoff spot that we have this year.
That was added this year.
Yeah.
More teams, more games. Maybe one division represents the entire thing. Whoa. That's wild. That's because I was thinking about Cliff Kingsbury he's not getting anywhere near the amount of credit for second-year head coach and how they're doing with a young quarterback. Yeah. And it's because he's in the NFC West where everybody's very good, and it's just kind of like, yeah, that's just how it goes. I mean, he's currently sitting at 5-2, just beat the Seahawks. How come we should be talking about him as being one of the best young coaches in the game.
Coach of the year.
He is what he's been able to do. Awesome. Obviously, Kyler Murray's been awesome. There's a couple games where they lost me a lot of money for no reason. They played like dog shit. That's going to happen and throughout an NFL season. It's 16 games. Sometimes you're going to struggle. That team's very, very good and a lot of fun to watch, especially when old Buddha's flying around on the defensive side of the ball, trying to kill himself, it feels like.
If the Niners beat the Seahawks, too, that throws that whole division into just a fiery division.
Frenzy.
Frenzy.
Oh, yeah, you were there. You had, I thought you were.
Close.
I thought we were gonna go fiery, and then you were gonna go frenzy there, and I was about to say, ooh. I was getting ready for the ooh there for it, but instead you just said division, which is okay because that is what it is. It will be a fiery division, but I do believe it'll be a bit frantic whenever everything goes on at the end of the season. Every single game is going to potentially be for a playoff berth for everybody in the NFC West.
Oh, funky.
And that's great. And it's also going to be happening the same thing, but opposite in the NFC East. Bad football teams.
And that's the division they got to play.
Bad football teams. We are a live show, so we should have a sidebar because that's what everybody We've covered a lot of things on there. Let's talk about Mike Nolan of the Dallas Cowboys, defense coordinator, a man who is currently the head of a defense for the Dallas Cowboys that's on pace to give up more points than any team in the history of the NFL.
Yep.
That's a tough stat. This is a man who was retired for a couple of years with Mike McCarthy in his basement, putting together game plans, fake game plans every single week. Or maybe they weren't. Who knows? We don't know what to believe and what not to believe anymore, especially in this world. A man whose defense has not performed well. A man who's one of his defenders went into a conference or Zoom call and said it's impossible to run full speed all the time, which, by the way, is a real statement, but saying it publicly. There's been some comments in the locker room that have leaked to the media about the coaching staff. I'd assume some of that's on the defensive side of the ball. And just yesterday, he had maybe the most Dallas Cowboys of the 2020 NFL season moment, bar none, whenever he had this happen in the middle of his conference call.
Obviously, the frustration for him as well is just, look, when he misses them, nobody. Whoops, excuse me. I got something in my eye. Just had some Tabasco on my finger and it went in my eye. Oh, no. Oh, it's terrible.
Uses his mask.
Hang on, guys. Be right back.
Hang on, guys. He's losing his fucking eyes at the moment. That was awesome.
Have you ever been there?
Oh, terrible. Absolutely terrible.
It's the worst.
Yeah, maybe eat some wings or something, and you have the sauce on somewhere on your finger, and you don't even realize it. Oh, you got something in your eye. Let me go ahead and wipe that. Oh, what a complete nightmare situation. I've been there, done that with what old Mike Nolan has done. That does not feel good, but the fact that it happened at his Zoom conference call of the day or press conference or whatever just makes it so much more magical for just, the comedy of errors happening from the Dallas Cowboys organization. Now, this is very relatable. Maybe made me like Mike Nolan more than I ever have in the past. Him grabbing for the mask and rubbing it in there. Then him having to stop the entire and the PR person. Sorry, guys, you see him right now. You've been here. You have been here. He is struggling. It is a wild time to be a part of the Dallas Cowboys organization.
Just a comedy of errors. I assumed that Mike McCarthy just had Dixie cups full of hot sauce laying around for people to drink instead of like Gatorade around the facility and everything. I know.
Hey, get your piss on.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's wake it up a little bit around here. Okay, you guys want to leak information? Cool. Everybody's got to do 20 shots of Tabasco.
Is that the best way to get out of an interview, though?
Just rub your eye with hot sauce?
Just rub it.
You remember when Steve-O used to fucking just take the lemons?
Oh, God.
Squirt him in his
Squirt
eyes.
him in there. He snorts salt and they do a shot of tequila or whatever. Oh.
What do they call it? The man shot?
Is that what you guys call it in Canada?
No, that's what he called it.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like, what did we call it? Like Canada thing. I was about to be pumped up about that. Yeah, that's insane. We did those a couple times, obviously. You have to.
Really?
Not great.
Yeah, I do believe
How's
it.
the lime in the eye feel?
It's god awful.
Yeah.
It's not good. And the next day you got like the whole thing. You got to do that
sore.
You got to do a lot of that fast. I mean, obviously, I've been a part of situations where I was walking down the wrong street at the wrong time and pepper spray has happened. That's
the worst.
that is the breathing. A lot of people talk about the eyes. Breathing it in is also terrible. It doesn't get talked. Everybody talks about dump milk on the eyes or whatever, but what am I doing for my lungs down here? Feels like I'm dying, cuz. Feels like I'm dying.
For the Cowboys, why aren't we sanitizing after we're eating, boys? I mean,
how many times are we washing our hands?
It's like, look, you're not sanitizing. Do they even know that the election's next week and that you got to go out there and vote? I didn't hear Nolan say
please go vote at all.
Do the Cowboys even know what it takes that...
It takes us all.
Takes us all.
Takes all of us.
Second one.
Yeah, it takes all of us.
It does take all of us.
It takes all of us.
And Mike Nolan's over there not washing his damn hands after he eats something with
hell?
hot sauce. Can't do it.
What the hell?
Won't do it. Is Mike Nolan trying to get out of the season by trying to get either Tabasco eyes or COVID?
Sanitize your damn hands.
Speaking of, depending on the result of Tone Diggs' rapid result thing, we should potentially think about just spraying down everything he
with
touches.
Tabasco sauce.
Yeah, that seems to be the killer.
Burn it alive.
Speaking of vote, please go to @Viva poll and vote on that thing. What is the poll of the day, and what are the current standings, Mr. Zito? Excited to hear how you read these.
Yep. So who's the worst coach in the NFL? Question mark. Mike Zimmer last at 2.1%.
Look at this. Look at this.
Yep.
Look at this.
Matt Nagy at 7.7%. Mike McCarthy at 13.2%. And Adam Gase 77%.
Okay. We're not clapping at Adam Gase being voted
No.
We're talking at the delivery by Zeke of his big ass poll.
Brilliant.
Biggest poll. How many people have voted?
With over 31,000 votes.
Is that
massive?
Is that the biggest vote thing going in America right now?
I would
Biggest
say.
I've ever seen.
Sure feels like it.
Make sure to vote.
Go vote.
Register to vote.
Register to vote today.
How about that Pete Carroll one? No game plan. All right, Todd,
Russ, tell him.
not doing their house. Hey, listen, you should vote. Obviously, hey, you vote.
1 week.
Vote. You don't need us telling you though. You've heard it.
Rock the vote.
Oh man,
SoFi Stadium was preaching that pretty hard last night.
it's big. The NFL is all in on the voting, which, by the way, everybody
vote.
seems to be at this point.
Rightfully so.
But if it wasn't for that one piece of content, I wouldn't have voted. You know, it's that one piece that one person made.
I hear you.
That's saving the fucking world. That person.
Yeah.
Register to vote. Fucking duck.
I mean, it really was.
That, for me,
That was the moment.
for being serious.
Kind of all wishy-washy, and then you hear register to vote. It's like, all right, well, I have to.
God damn it. Okay. I went on my phone right there.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Every time you open Instagram too, at the top, it's like, have
right
you
there.
yet?
7 days.
Oh man. Like, can I just keep politics out of anything? No, cannot. Cannot.
Oh yeah.
It's like, well, I'm too dumb, so hopefully everybody that's telling me to register to vote will let me know where I'm supposed to vote so I don't fuck up the country, because I feel like that is like, I don't know. Register
to vote.
Duck's our guy too. He does not deserve that. But that's Steelers video that they put out where it's all these messages.
Hey, and it worked.
And then got you.
It got me. That's the only reason I'm voting.
Let's go to Ken in Georgia. Ken, we hope that you
register to vote.
What do you want to talk about, brother?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, brother. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, well, I guess we can talk about the piss poor performance from that fraud of a team yesterday called the Bears.
Oh, look at you. You're so
He's kind of
smart.
quiet. I think he's at work. Like, he wants to get this off his chest. He's in the middle of something, though. He's had to keep it down a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're right. I am at work. I had to walk out because I'm just so fucking pissed. And if anyone calls Matt Nagy an offensive guru or an offensive genius again, just stop. He's an offensive stooge is what he is.
Hey,
you know what? I don't know how much longer until the defense starts to realize it, just like last year when they gave up, but it was just like, what the fuck are we supposed to do with this offense? How much more do you want me to try? Like Hakeem Nicks, Khalil Mack, Eddie Jackson, eventually they're just going to be like, why am I still here? We bust our ass for what? 3 points a game? Eventually they're going to, you got all these people leaving so they can request our trades. Why are they not going to request a trade? Go somewhere else. No one wants to be on this team.
That's a passionate guy in Georgia.
Yeah, that guy just...
Ken was not thrilled with what the Chicago Bears are doing. He said, at what point do you think these studs on the defense say, I don't want to deal with this ineptitude of the offense of Chicago Bears? Now, last night, Ken, I would like you to give a little bit of credit to Johnny Hecker's ability to put the Bears in a terrible position and for them to have their backs against the wall at all times last night with 5 punts inside the 5. Okay, let's give a little bit of credit for that. Now, on the flip side, there was a red zone interception that happened. There was some other things that took place last night that you go, wow, this team stinks. And what are they judging? Are they judging Nick Foles against Mitchell Trubisky's outcome at this point, or is that not a conversation anymore? Will the offense be able to get going? But they're at 5-2, Z. You and Ken need to know. They're at 5-2 right now. You should be feeling good. You should be feeling good about it.
I do feel good, but last night those play calls were god-awful, though. I will give them that.
Zito, football doctor, says play calls are bad. I like that.
It was bad. The 4th and 1. That was the most insane thing I've seen in my life.
There was a couple situations last night where you go, wow, this is interesting. And we talked to Michael Lombardi last hour, football guru, basically. He said that Nagy loves doing a triple reverse when he needs 1 yard. In Chicago, he goes, your team has to kind of obviously take the personality of the head coach, but also the city it plays in. Chicago's a tough place, and he thinks that the misdirection, all the misdirection stuff, it doesn't really fit the Bears type. He said, you need a yard. So at some point, you're going to have to fight some. Like at some point, you're going to have to go and get it. And it just feels like whether it's that or anything else that's going on, is it the quarterbacks? Is it the personnel around? That Chicago Bears offense, because you have such a good defense, is always going to be talked about as, oh, they're the ones that let them down, that didn't let them get to where they ultimately wanted to go, which is the Super Bowl. But at 5-2, it's hard to really be that upset. Now, if they lose the next 6 straight, and it's like, okay, now we're 5-8, it's like, okay, every conversation that Ken had down in Georgia with his friends, Zito had behind closed doors, but won't say it publicly because he doesn't want to put a bad image out there or anything like that, and all the other Bears fans, then those things are going to get very, very, very loud.
At what point does the shine of being like an Andy Reid disciple wear off on him when it's like, okay, this guy had fucking Andy Reid? Like, at what point does that come? Because I feel like that's what people are still clinging to. It's like, well, he spent all this time under Andy Reid. You know, he's an offensive genius. Like, at what point are people just like, okay, that's not the case?
And that's the same thing whenever you think about Belichick disciples. It's like, at what point is this guy not, this guy isn't Bill Belichick.
He's not the guy.
But maybe in year 4, you know what I mean?
That's when the switch.
Whenever you're building a culture, you know, and you got to year 3, I'm sorry, whenever you're building a culture and everybody thought you should have been fired the last couple years and there's a change of ownership and you've been there for a long time and you're a Bill Belichick disciple, maybe it takes 3 years to really get it going. Is that what it is, Fox?
100%.
100%.
Matt Patricia has found his groove. The defense has gotten better. Don't even talk about how they played the Jaguars and the Falcons, all right? They've won 2 in a row. They're going to win 6 more in a row, and then we're going to make the playoffs, win a playoff game, 10-6 playoff win, baby. Book it.
When Foxy and I were waiting to get our COVID test yesterday, Fox and I get tested often, by the way.
Yeah.
I think that is, we get 2 people in the office every week get tested, but Fox and I get tested on a very regular basis just because we try to do things right while we're sitting there waiting to get tested because it's an entire process. I don't know if people that haven't got tested before, it is an entire process. And yesterday, it started to rain and they can't test during the rain.
Nope.
Because, by the way, the people that do the testing that run outside car to car, like, it was cold as hell. They don't deserve to be, and they're heroes, these people, by the way. Shoving things up people's noses all damn day. So it was starting to drizzle, so we thought we didn't get it. It was a buzzer beater for us to get tested yesterday, which is awesome. We should get our results back today, I believe, and then test today. We'll get the results back tomorrow. We're talking, though, do you think there's ever been like a show that's as large as this show, which, by the way, thank you all for watching and listening. It shouldn't be as large as it is, but facts are it's big.
Love you.
That has ever had a Detroit Lions like diehard on it? I don't think so.
No.
There's only like 3 of them in the world.
Foxy's one of the faces of Detroit Lions fan bases. He was in a video that the Lions put out, him reacting to that 2-point or that touchdown and then extra point going through for Prater. Foxy is one of the faces of the Detroit Lions right now.
And I was telling you, I appreciate you because there's no reason to talk about the Lions as much as we do. So thank you.
All right, hour 2 wrapping up here. We're back on the other side with Aaron Rodgers. Go take a shit.
Register to vote.
Hey, I got something big cooking, pal. By the way, maybe worthy of... Oh! 1, 2.
Easy, be
Don't
careful,
do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Oh!
Smart.
I'd like to say this place looks like absolute dog crap with all of you humans in here this evening. This would have looked much better without This is the start of something very special. And a lot of people are probably wondering, how did we get here? We will get to that at some point. Just know that us three are the new kings of this brand. Us three are unstoppable. Us three are nowhere near done with what we're going to do to all of NXT. Have a great night. We're the greatest. You suck. Cheers. You said in the interview that you would add an extra finger to your scotch drink or whatever. A finger is just what? Just one finger this way or this way?
Yeah, like this, bro.
So did you do 4 on Sunday? You did a full fucking glass?
It was a long night. We didn't get home. I didn't get home till like 11:40.
Look at how much scotch that is. Is that what you did?
It's not that much.
That's 4 fingers, dude. You said you normally do 3. That's 4 right there.
But you have those fat sausages. It hasn't been cordial over the years between me and Sue. You know, we've had some battles over the years. You know, I think I mentioned that he got frozen feet and didn't realize he was stepping on my calf. He also stomped on one of my teammates at one point. I was under the impression that we were going to have a conversation after the game. And there might have been some loss in translation, whether or not he was talking about the, see you at the bus conversation. I thought it seemed more like, hey, let's have a little, come to Jesus moment. I was looking for that conversation. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't think it was going to, look, I'm not going to play number 2.
Do you think it was the 3 pumps that potentially got you into deep shit with the football gods, Aaron?
You, of all people, a man who is celebrated as much as anybody at your position, you must realize whether necessary or unnecessary. The celebrations have no correlation in that sense.
You needed a kick in the ass. Do you just think everybody was getting kind of too comfortable and had a bye week and had a chance to soak it in? Hey, we're very, very good. Is that what you meant by that?
I mean, I think we all need that a little bit. When the complacency starts to sink in and you start kind of feeling yourself a little bit, it's always good to kind of get knocked down. And I think it can be a good thing. I'm not saying, look, nobody wants to lose to fucking figure things out. Great teams have consistent habits. And so we got to keep doing the things that got us to 4-0 in order to get back to where we want to be.
Here, here, huh?
Yeah.
Here, here. Attaboy, Aaron!
I know you were an extra in Game of Thrones. I wanted to get your opinion on how you think the show ended.
So I think many of us were disappointed and confused by the ending.
Which one were you? Do you know which one you were yet?
The guy running duck-footed heel first with his arms splaying all about.
Yeah, no cakes. Weak jaw turned into the alley. Was that you?
I think that guy's related to AJ somehow.
Oh, shit!
The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is 2:02 Eastern Daylight Time, and it is officially Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. October 27, 2020. Another Aaron Rodgers Tuesday has come to us in a beautiful fashion. This week, it comes after a massive dub, okay? Massive, massive dub. Slicing, dicing the Houston Texans. He and Devontae Adams almost had 200 yards together. Bunch of touchdowns, celebrations. Life is good. Is he on right now? Ladies and gentlemen, alongside an incredible man who's won a national championship and a Super Bowl, AJ Hawk. The man joining us in the middle after a big dub Just days after learning that defenses had his offense figured out, he went out and did the same damn thing he was doing for the first month and some days to begin this season. Ladies and gentlemen, number 12, Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, there we go.
Did you hear everything that just happened? We just went ape shit in here for you.
No, I just blacked out. I blacked out, and I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, come on. Do you want us to do it? We could do this from the jump if you'd like. We don't have time. Let's get to it.
Have AJ do it. Have AJ.
Yeah, actually. Hey, by the way, Mason jar, real crowd pleaser. Last week, whenever you were drinking out of that, I'm a big fan of that move. Is that just what your kitchen is? Just a bunch of mason jars and paper plates and stuff like mine?
No, and it's vodka, by the way.
Oh! Could you imagine them writing right now? Aaron Rodgers is potentially dealing with an alcohol problem on a Tuesday. Or let's talk about the game. Immediately after the game, you were asked about Davante Adams, and you said something to, Davante and I talked before the game. And we knew or something, there was some conversation that was had, and you guys knew. It seemed like you two were able to do whatever the hell you wanted on Sunday with the Texans. Did you know that going in, and what was that conversation with Davante like?
No, I don't think we knew that going in. I think it was more just a feeling that based on Aaron Jones being out and Bakhtiari not playing, and obviously their offense having so much success last week against Tennessee, I just felt like we were going to have a big game. And it's just what happens sometimes. You're sitting in the locker room. It's strange. I mean, that locker room had, the plexiglass up between every single locker, so you don't really see guys' faces. So I wasn't quite sure where he was at, but just sent him a little reminder that I was going to need him in a big way, and I felt really good about things. He obviously felt the same way. I just think it's important sometimes to remind star receivers. I used to do this with Jordy Nelson all the time, just to be patient. I think especially in a game where you got to make plays, you're expecting to make plays, just to have patience with the way things go, because you got to get in the game and see how teams are playing. Now, thankfully for Tay, we got off to a really good start in the beginning, got him a touchdown on the first drive. But we had a couple real subtle adjustments in the game that really made the stats look better. He's such a talented guy. I mean, he does so much. A couple times he was so damn wide open. You're just trying to not miss him with the ball. But him and I have been in a really good groove. And 2 days ago was just kind of the culmination of a really good week of practice and good communication, even on an hour before the game.
Hey, Aaron, can it sometimes hinder a quarterback if you have a stud receiver that you are thinking like, hey, I got to go to this guy? And I only bring this up because their whole Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr. situation, Dan Orlovsky actually explained it very well, I think, on whatever NFL Live he was on. He said sometimes he saw Matt Stafford get in this situation with Calvin Johnson, like, hey, I got to, in your mind, like, I got to make sure I push the ball to Calvin, but then it kind of takes away you being able to go through your progressions. And then when he's out, you can kind of free up and see everything. Is that a real thing?
I don't know. I don't think any quarterback looks at it like that. I really don't. I just think that's the wrong way to play. If you are, there's a difference in my opinion between
forcing outside pressure, though, Aaron. Think about like you don't have pressure, but if you're a lower stature quarterback, they're going to want you to throw to this stud they brought in.
I see what you're saying, Agent, and I'm not saying it's not a real thing.
You're stupid, AJ. I'll say it. You go on with your answer. I'm sorry about that.
But look, there's a reason that guy is that guy. It's because he's probably open a lot and open to a Calvin Johnson. In his heyday was different than most receivers, and open for Odell is different for most receivers, and open for Davante. I just think that there's certain guys who just have that special star quality. Like Julio, so you do feed them, intentionally sometimes, because they have usually a bigger catch radius. They have the ability to run more routes. So I don't think you're really necessarily fighting that. I just think whether you're not in the rhythm yet or not in the groove yet, or you guys need a spark, those are the type of guys that you want to go to in those situations. Now, we started off hot and kind of kept it going the entire game, but there's been times in my career where I need a play and it happened in the Super Bowl. I felt like we were just a little bit off. I was maybe running a little high emotionally, and we called a screen pass on 3rd and 1, and I alerted the go route outside of Jordy Nelson for a touchdown, and that settled me down. I think it settled our offense down, and we went on to win the game. So sometimes you do make subtle adjustments, and people might say it's forcing, and for the offense and for yourself, it's a way to kind of settle into a groove because those guys are so talented.
By the way, shout out to you just calling your own play in the Super Bowl, saying I need to throw a deep ball here.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I wish I would have done that in the Super Bowl. It would have been cool if I just looked out at the gunner and said, "Hey, fucking go, pal." That would have been beautiful. Would have been a magical moment, and maybe that's why you are you and I am me. You said that maybe you're a bit high emotionally or whatever. It is because we always see you laughing. It always seems like you're laughing, having a great time. Is that a conscious effort by you? Like, I am a better me whenever I'm having a good time. Because for me, it was like whenever I was like either super focused or something like that, I would overthink it or whatever. I had to be very relaxed. Was that something that you kind of realized about yourself?
Well, Pat, I just think it's the moment in the Super Bowl, and we all played and won. It's just a different feeling. The emotions are higher, the adrenaline's going, the nerves are higher, and you kind of just want to get that first, big play to settle everything in, I think. And we had taken a couple shots and missed them, and I just felt like, we had press coverage on him and liked the matchup and just wanted to at least give it a look. And based on his initial release, he was probably going to be a yard or two on top, and hit him in a good spot, and the rest is kind of history there. But I just think it doesn't matter. I'm in my 16th season. We always need that kind of first play to get settled into the game. Whether it's a deep throw or taking a little shot, or getting outside the pocket and running. There's always that play that kind of settles you into the game. Less nerves, I think, the older you get because you're more used to it. But if you don't have nerves out there, I think you need to maybe focus in and realize it's game time.
I always thought I was mentally weak because I felt that even like whenever I was at the top, when I was doing very well, I mean, what Johnny Hekker did last night might be the new top of everything, whatever. That was unbelievable. But whenever I would go out there for the first time, even whenever I knew I was nervous, like I would get like a little bit, not nervous, but like I was like anxious to get the first one. I'm like, man, what a mentally weak son of a bitch you are. It turns out everybody does. That's good news, by the way. I just learned something about me that I'm not. So I appreciate you saying what you just said, right?
Yeah, you can write that in your dream journal later.
Yeah, I'll write that down. I don't suck. That's good news. I'm not a mentally weak guy. That's great news for me.
Hey, Aaron, what about that? So that play to Jordy, you say 3rd and 1 screen called. I don't know if you're not confirming or denying that you agree with that call on the screen, but let's say you throw it out there to Jordy and you don't connect. What's that conversation like on the sideline?
Big Mike.
It's one of those things where you better make it work if you're going to do that. And, there's times in all games like that. You have to understand the consequences and trust your instincts. We had multiple plays in the game against Houston. This happens all the time where you make subtle adjustments and you make it work, or you must have a good reason why you did something. I think the beauty in play caller quarterback relations is there has to be trust. There has to be trust coming in to execute the play called, and trust that if I see something that it's, in my opinion, what's going to put us in the best situation. Like the touchdown to Devontae, where he absolutely smoked him off the line. That was an adjustment that actually went back to a conversation from earlier in the season with Devontae. I believe we were playing Detroit, and we talked about a route adjustment versus press when he was number 2 in the slot in a two-man stack. And in the moment, I saw the alignment. I didn't necessarily expect the safety to go double weak like he did away from Devontae, but I made just a subtle little adjustment to Darius and to Devontae, and obviously Devontae smoked them off the line and created about 6 yards separation, and I underthrew him by about 4 yards, so I still gave him a 2-yard window to break free.
Smart.
But there has to be trust there from coach to me, and also understanding when is a good time to do that and when is the time to to kind of go through your progression and trust the nature of the play.
The risk-reward factor is an ultimate balance that you have to do, I guess, in everything, especially whenever it comes to your relationship with LaFleur, who a lot of people wanted you two to hate each other early, and that has kind of settled off in the conversation. But last night, it was alleged, okay, Brian Griese, I believe, said something, and you heard this, obviously. Brian Griese said something on the yeah, you did. You heard it. So Brian Griese said last night on the game that Nick Foles told him or told them that sometimes a call will come in for a play and he knows that he has no chance because he doesn't have enough time for the thing or whatever. So basically, the way Brian Griese delivered it was like, Foles told us last night that Nagy was sending some plays that he knows isn't going to work because he's not going to have enough time. And then Nagy came out and said, well, Nick Foles never told me that. And now Nick Foles has said, well, that was a misquote. But let's forget about the misquote that happens between interview of quarterback and commentator, which I'm sure there's a couple stories that you have for that, but we don't have to talk about that. Is that what the conversation you and LaFleur had this offseason, where you go through the offense and you say, like, hey, I think in this situation this happens? Like, is that the play caller quarterback relationship? You two literally have to be tied at the hip, right? And if there's any type of tension at all, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I think the tension is released through the conversations, whether it's during the week, it's situational conversations about third down plays that we like. And, everything is complicated, whether overcomplicated or complicated right to the right amount. As far as the analytics part and the breaking down of each section of third down and of the field, really, we have different areas of the field where we, break down tendencies and stuff we like calling in certain spots, and there has to be a conversation about all those things. And the thing I enjoy about working with Matt is, there's been a lot of great conversations throughout the off season and during the regular season about stuff that we like and why we like them, and he'll show me a clip that he likes it from, or I'll refer back to something that I like or something that I saw or something from years past on a reason that I like one play over another play. And, I think it really helps him see how I see things and vice versa. When I understand the why, it really helps. That's just kind of how I've always been as an athlete. Just understanding why we're doing things helps me kind of see the entire picture. And as quarterback, you really have to see the entire picture and understand not just the play call, but the protection, the stress points and protection, and the subtle adjustments you can make within the play, and then how to kind of go about the play to use the scheme to your advantage.
God, there's so much going on.
Yeah, there is a lot going on, and pivoting off of that, Aaron, goes in line with it. I know you in so many years of playing in Green Bay, you've had a lot of celebrities that come watch you play.
Oh yeah.
Who are some of your favorite celebrities, maybe at away games, that you have seen that you may or may not have been catcalling certain celebrities on the sidelines during warm-ups at times?
Doing what?
I don't know. I think it needs to be more specific here.
Well,
Scott Stapp for sure. Scott
Who?
Stapp is.
Scott Stapp! Whoa. Yeah, of course, Scott
I'm
Stapp.
thinking, hell yeah. I don't know if we won this game. Aaron, you'll know if we won the game.
Tim Allen?
Tim Allen. Sorry, it mutes you, but no. I don't know if we won this game or not. We were in Chicago. It was a night game, and there was a certain actor. I think he had a mustache at the time, and you were very excited, and you could not stop trying to get his attention during warm-ups.
I don't know if you're talking about Vince Vaughn or Will Ferrell or.
This was Cusack.
Oh.
It was neither of those guys. You're talking about
Cusack, John Cusack.
John Cusack, yeah. Yeah, he's definitely up there on favorite celebrities we've seen. Will Ferrell's been to a game. Kevin Durant, when we played the Redskins, he was wearing Redskin colors. But Kevin Durant has been at games. Anthony Davis, who's a Packers fan, has been to games. We've had the Milwaukee Bucks at various games. CeCe Sabathia, way back in the day when he was playing on kind of a rented loan contract for the Milwaukee Brewers, came to a game. Harry Styles from One Direction fame.
Oh, you know Harry Styles?
Hell, that's your guy. That's your dude.
We love having Harry. The Jonas Brothers have been to games.
No, the Joe Bros. What?
Nick and Joe.
No.
Age was really excited to meet with Joe. I think it was right. Age.
Yeah, the oldest.
I think I met the middle one, right? The guy that sings.
Oh, Bill.
Yeah,
right.
Age is a big Shakira fan too. So he
Really?
she was rumored to be at one of our games I think it was in Dallas a few years ago, and I don't think she showed up. He was kind of bummed out.
That's a shame. You said all these people, and I would assume they all come talk to you, which is one of the perks of being the quarterback of the team. I would assume they all come. No, they don't. They don't talk to you. A lot of shrugs there.
You know what? Before we keep going, there's one person who's going to get really upset if I don't mention him, and that's Kevin from The Office, Brian Bumgarner.
Oh,
who's a good friend of AJ and I's. He's been to a few games. He's a great fan. Met him years ago. Also, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about his, finish this year at Tahoe, which was his best finish of his career.
Congrats to him, Bumgarner.
Attaboy. Here you go, Kev.
Kev.
Good job, Brian.
Yeah, really excited for Brian. He's definitely gotten out of the Barkley groups and into kind of the more middle of the pack groups. So we're proud of him with his golfing.
You're talking about the Eddie George, Charles Barkley, AJ Hawk groups, the things that you're referring to right there, I believe, at that Lake Tahoe thing. How come you've not said Lil Wayne yet?
Yeah. Lil Wayne has been in the locker room actually post game.
What was that like? What's Lil Wayne like in the locker room?
That was amazing. That was during our playoff run. Well, that was during 11 when we were really good. I think Age probably remembers. I think he got a picture with him. I didn't get a picture at that time, but I still have a soft spot in my heart for Green and Yellow when it comes on.
Oh yeah,
hell yeah.
His remix of
Black and
of
Yellow,
a Wiz Khalifa song, I believe.
Yep, you're hip. Yep, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely up to date with my rap these days.
Yeah, well, you just crushed it right there. I think you just slaughtered it. Wiz Khalifa has a couple new songs out, by the way, from Pittsburgh. Great rapper, loves marijuana. Let's go move on the conversation. Last week, do you know that? You did. You were there. The reaction to your Zoom conference call, where you were asked about defenses figuring out your offense and you said 1 of 5 or whatever, the reaction was awesome. It was like, Aaron Rodgers is in a bad mood. Aaron Rodgers is moody. This is what happens when Aaron Rodgers loses games. He's moody and all this. Like, it was everywhere. It was awesome to watch, by the way. Just like, as not you, it probably sucked for you to hear all this shit, but you've been hearing this for your entire life, so you're probably used to it. But for me, just watching this thing kind of catapult, because I knew I was going to get to ask you about it. When you sit there and you say something like that and you watch the world react to it, what are your immediate thoughts? Just immediate thoughts while watching.
I didn't see a lot of the reactions, to be honest, Pat. I really didn't.
You missed it. They were good.
And Tom Fanning, who's works PR with the Packers, didn't alert me to a lot of stuff going on. I will address, last Wednesday, I think it was one of the poorest set of questions that I've received all year.
Okay.
Those people got a job to do. We were 4-1, and I think I've been really good on those. And I try and be as thoughtful as possible and give them answers that that answer the question and maybe give them some insight. But I thought some of the questions were just poor questions. So poor questions don't always get the same type of answers. And look, I know they have a job to do, and I'm not saying it's easy, but when it started off the way it started off with that question beginning the press conference, it really didn't get much better at that point.
That was the first question? I didn't know that was the first question.
Yeah, that was the first question.
Hi, Aaron. Happy Wednesday. Okay, so your offense stinks. The entire NFL figured it out. What are your thoughts on that? What a hilarious start to a conversation. That's awesome.
And it didn't get any better from there. So, I can't say it was everybody. I don't want to throw everybody under the bus, but there were a few good questions in there. But I'm going to talk to them tomorrow, and I know they can do better than they did last week.
Right there, you just either made somebody's day for saying that, or whoever potentially asked that question is now going to run with this and act as if like Aaron can't, like that's what they're going to do to this. But that everything you say is going to cause a firestorm anyways.
Well, look, I don't think they should be sensitive about it. It's Mark Danos. I've known Mark for years, and I've been on his radio show and worked with him for a long time. And I think Mark does a really good job. I don't think it was a great question, but hey, you're not going to be perfect every single week. I'm sure, maybe there'll be some sensitivity. I'm guessing he'll probably ask a little better question this week. But I have nothing against Mark at all. I just didn't think it was a great question.
I respect
it. Well, maybe to them it was. Maybe that's what they want. They wanted a strong reaction from you.
I didn't give them a strong reaction. I just told them that 1 out of 5 teams have figured us out. So
And then what was the next question? No, what was the next question? Because I enjoy interviews. Like, I enjoy them a lot. I enjoy how conversations go. Like, I think it's a very captivating thing. Whenever you start with that shot, okay, that's just a pow. All right, here we go. We're leading off with this thing. You automatically, I assume, like, oh, it's going to be one of these days. What was another follow-up question that was just like in your eyes, like, why are we framing the question in the way that we just did?
There was a lot. There was some similar ones to that where, just, to me, it was questions that didn't even give you the opportunity to give a thoughtful answer. And I looked over at Tom a couple times during it, and I wasn't trying to be rude, but I couldn't believe what these people were asking. And again, it wasn't every single question, but it was like, come on, like, you're with me every week. I can give thoughtful answers. I give them a lot of time.
Let's frame it. It's all in your framing, too. You can ask anything, I've learned. It's all in how you frame the question. You know what I mean? Like, the framing of the question is your opinion on what the answer is going to be, right? So, or what the answer should be. And it's a very interesting tactic because you can really lead people into a certain. You watch Dateline or whatever. Those investigators that are asking the questions, they just walk the person right through every fucked up thing that they did. They just walk them right through it. It's the same thing whenever you talk about a conversation. I'm excited to hear how it goes tomorrow, Chipper Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait to hear how it goes over there, man.
Well, let's just wait and see if they, if Bob Domofsky tries to, project onto me that I'm in a bad mood again.
By the way, is that not the most irritating thing ever? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? Are you sure you're okay? It seems like you're not. My wife, I'll ask her every once in a while, like, are you in a good mood or whatever? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, are you sure you're in a good mood? She's like, all right, now you're getting me in the bag. I'm like, all right, I'll shut the fuck up. I will walk it away, I guess. Ty, what's going on?
Aaron, last week there was an article that came out about your quarterback room over the course of your career, and I was just curious. Everyone knows you have arguably the single greatest game in Jeopardy history. Which of your backups had the toughest weekly exam, and what kind of questions were typically toughest for you?
Ooh.
Oh, man. Yeah. Matt Flynn really started doing a lot of those, making some really, really good tests. His were, about 3 football questions and then about 20 pop culture trivia questions. I have obviously a few kind of zones where I'm really good, whether it's history. When pop culture stuff, I'm pretty good with music, South Park, TV shows, movies.
What a direct genre there.
So he would really try and stump me on certain things, but he was good at tests. The thing I love that I always try to get them to do is put some fun facts on there. So do some research on the other team, the DBs. Give me some, potential trash talking material about certain guys. Maybe it's a childhood nickname that they weren't too keen on, or maybe some sort of thing that said or did that you can use against them. I'm not talking about like a mean trash talk way necessarily, but just something you could maybe rib them about during a TV timeout. That'd be fun. And I would say I used many of those little fun facts over the years, or maybe we just have some laughs on the sidelines. But every now and then you kind of throw one of those out there, and the guys be pretty surprised that that research is being done. So a big shout out to Matt Flynn and Graham Harrell. Brett Hundley was really good at him too. He kind of carried the tradition. Tim Boyle's done a really good job, and now Jordan's been doing them lately, and he's easing into it. He's still a little football heavy at this point, but.
Hey, stop taking it so serious, okay? This is not a serious. We appreciate you being dialed in, but let's get to the 8th grade report of insert name of corner here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're going for. So
I heard in that same article. I didn't read the entire thing. I should have probably. I guess it sounded awesome.
I read your article.
Yeah, well,
that article, and I texted with Graham Harrell afterwards. There was some liberties taken for sure.
Okay,
that's why I didn't want to read it, by the way, because I didn't want to, I heard you're a bad flip cup player. That makes no sense at all, because with how good you are at throwing a football.
Again, that's a total lie. Graham Harrell had no idea how to play flip cup.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I figured.
What he's talking about.
All right, I heard that because I didn't read the article. I don't do a lot of the reading. Okay, which isn't something to brag about. Okay, kids, read your books. I never have, but read your books. And I was given some information because we're a big flip cup town where we come from, big flip cup town. It's the best drinking game. It brings the entire place to its feet. Beer pong, you only got 2 people performing. You go 7-on-7 with flip cup. It can be an electric atmosphere. It's always been my favorite drinking game. And whenever I heard that you were terrible at it, I was so bummed. I don't think I was bummed for like 20, 25 minutes, didn't leave my office. And now I'm very happy to hear that that's not the case.
I'm thankful you got out of there, man. Your spirits
lifted.
Came up. You got back to your trash talking about wrestling that I saw earlier. I'm excited to see what happens with that. I thought maybe you're going to call out AJ to be a partner of yours and get him involved. He's long wanted to follow in the footsteps of his heroes like Macho Man, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan. I mean, he's done probably as many drugs as those guys. So.
A lot better if I did.
We always wondered, Aaron. We always wondered. Hey, did you get a chance to, before we let you go, you're so generous with your time, by the way, and we can't did you get a chance to watch any of Letterman's new conversations on Netflix? He talked to Kanye. I'd be intrigued to hear your thoughts on that conversation.
I haven't seen it yet, and I did see this week. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan, and I saw
he also talked to Kanye
podcast. Yeah. So I haven't seen it yet. It's definitely on my watch list. I did get to watch Borat too.
Ooh,
how was it?
What are your thoughts on it?
Have you guys seen it yet?
No, not yet.
A lot of my teammates and a couple coaches who saw it said it was better than Borat 1. Now, also, 2006, a lot of those people were, even some of the coaches were probably in high school or middle school or elementary school. I was not. I was, in the NFL at 22. I loved Borat 1. I thought Borat 2 was really, really funny. Not as funny as the first one.
Oh, wow, what a review right here of Borat.
But I mean, look, but it's not a knock on Borat 2. Borat 1 just was so ridiculous, and I'm a fan of the Ali G show from way back.
Way back. Way back.
So I just thought, it was tough because Borat the character is so well known. Even when they showed him Borat 2, like people recognized him on the street. Obviously he's wearing the same gray suit, but and then I hadn't seen this yet, but I went back and watched the first episode of Who Is America?
Oh yeah, his other show.
What's that? That is.
And the first episode is unbelievable.
Hey, Sacha Baron Cohen, he did this interview, or he wrote something. He just typed out something as himself, and he talked about how his genre of comedy is something that can showcase and the realities of certain things or whatever. He has to be so fearless, that guy. He has to be. He told a story about how he wrote in that thing, and I think we've seen it, where he was at a rodeo or a fight of some sort, and him and his ex-boyfriend, and he said chairs were getting thrown at him. He had to get rushed out of a back. He has to be one of the most fearless humans in entertainment world.
And that was in Bruno. That was when he had that gay scene with down in the Deep South when they were wrestling. I mean, and I talked to a guy who was a producer on the Borat movie, when he sang the Kazakhstan anthem at the rodeo. They surrounded the bus and they weren't going to let him leave. They wanted him to get out of the bus. They wanted to, beat the hell out of him. So.
Like what Indomitian Sue wants to do to you. You know what I mean?
I think we're on okay terms at this point. But I mean, Sacha is his comedy is it's pretty incredible what he's able to get away with, and I think a lot of times he goes after the same type of people. It's just amazing that when you look it up, because you're watching this, especially last night. We watch this and I'm like, there has to be actors, right? Some of these people have to be actors. Like, it cannot be. But then you go back and look, and these people are like normal people. Now he figures out ways to fool them into thinking that this is a real event they're doing or whatever. But it's still amazing that some of the views and ideals of some of these people that he's able to dupe.
Yeah, humans. Interesting species.
Final thing for me, I haven't seen the movie. I've only seen what's getting at a bunch of pub. What was Rudy Giuliani doing when he untucked his shirt?
What is that? That was all over the internet.
That's all I hear about the movie. I don't know anything else.
Yeah, he was doing an interview with what he thought was a young journalist, and it's
in a hotel room.
It's Borat's daughter in the movie, right? And the whole premise is that he's, in order to get out of the work camp that he's been put in, because Borat embarrassed the country, he has to make this like grand gesture to someone in America. So he was bringing the minister of something. I don't know if it was film or whatever. And
Wait, is this spoilers right here?
It was a monkey. No, this is in the trailer.
Okay.
He was bringing a monkey to America to give the monkey away to Mike Pence or something. So when all this stuff didn't work out, then he, is going to give his daughter away, and Rudy thinks it looked like he's taking off his mic pack maybe, but there was some there's some weird things said. You just got to watch it for yourself.
All right, can't wait to watch it. That sounds great. Mr. Rodgers, why have you not watched Ted Lasso yet?
Yes.
And how does that not make it into your time when you're not watching film, by the way? We know you watch film all the time, and maybe you just put other stuff on to go to sleep at night or whatever. I don't know how you haven't watched that yet, honestly.
There's a new show out, a new trivia show. It's a new old show called The Weakest Link.
Oh, goodbye.
Yeah. So I've seen a couple episodes of that. Other than that, I haven't really watched any TV besides last night watching a little bit of Borat.
Hey, is it not Borat, by the way?
I don't know. You tell me.
You're the fan. I don't know. You did a critical acclaim of fucking both of them there. I don't know. I think it's Borat. I think.
Okay.
No, it might be Borat. You're smarter than I am. When you go on Jeopardy, you did the Jeopardy thing. And Ty, what did you say? You had the high score of all the best games?
Arguably the greatest single game performance of all time.
Will you ever go on just normal human Jeopardy? Well, not normal. That's because that's like the nerd Super Bowl, right? Do you think you could perform well against the Jeopardy Jameses and all them?
Well, not against him. No, he's him and Ken Jennings are the two best players of all time.
Amen.
James rewrote the whole strategy on how to play. I mean, he put people away in the beginning by going for the biggest clues and then doubling his money, and then his ability, he's just such a savant, like the ability to like figure out wagers on daily doubles in order to get them right and equal dates that would correspond to important events in his life. I mean, that to me, it was unbelievable. I wish I think he's a Chicago Bears fan, which I don't hold it against him because he's a Jeopardy hero. But no, I couldn't compete against him or Ken Jennings. I think some of the other, when there's not one of those type of players on there, I think I could maybe do okay. But I'd probably do better against celebrities.
Against me and AJ. That makes a lot of sense. We're dumb. You're smart. You're athletic. You're great. Good luck this weekend. You're going to play fantastic.
Thanks, guys. I always enjoy seeing you. Ty, especially you, buddy.
You buried him last week. No, you buried him last week.
Hey, guess what? Got to get better.
And you did, by the way.
Better.
And you did.
That's right.
Hey.
He's been trying to say about my Chuck Norris shirt,
by the way.
I don't know what that is.
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
America wasn't ready, baby.
Hey, Aaron, do you think? So I know Pat didn't notice. I noticed that your camera angle was slouching lower and lower. As I was trying to go this whole talk without mentioning your shirt because you've been trying to shoehorn into this conversation. I love Chuck though.
I don't know anything about him.
I put on this shirt just for this interview, and I just wanted one little recognition for Carlos. He's a Northern California guy. He's a legend. He's in Silent Rage, one of the greatest movies of all time, and Expendables.
Yeah.
I just think we need to give him his due right now.
I have no idea who you guys are talking about, but somebody does.
Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh, I know Walker, Texas Ranger. He fucked over Ben Stiller at the end of Dodgeball. That guy. Yeah. I remember him. Yeah, fuck.
That's what you remember.
Chuck
That's
Norris.
all you remember from him.
Yeah, that's it right there, pal.
Thanks a lot.
Some roundhouse kicks, huh?
Yeah. By the way, Kondo the zillion twice or something like that, Infinity twice. I remember all that, but I don't know much about him. Ben Stiller is your favorite actor? Yeah, you like Ben Stiller a lot. Have you ever met him?
I love Ben Stiller. He's great.
You just know everybody, huh? Your phone is just like, boom, I'm one text away from insert name of world leader here. I know this person. Is that what it's like to be Aaron Rodgers?
I'm 1 degree of separation from a lot of really cool people, yourself included, Pat.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers. Thank you, Aaron.
Love you, Aaron.
Good luck this weekend, bub.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, those questions better come correct tomorrow from that fucking media. I'll tell you what.
At least start better.
Did you hear that, AJ?
Who's asking the first one? That person's got to be nervous already.
It is real, though. Sometimes those reporters, and I'm not saying everybody, obviously in every single profession there's a couple people, that are give a bad image to said whatever, or maybe just have a bad day and ask a bad question. But there's some of those press conferences, and now there's Zoom calls or whatever, where somebody will ask a question, they won't get the answer they want. So they continue to ask another question, get forcefully. It's like you ask the question, that's how it works. You ask a question, you get an answer. Now report off of the answer. And if your spin zones, by the way, is he's in a bad mood, he gave us this, okay, do that. But whenever, and I didn't get to watch that entire one, but whenever those things become like give and take time, it's like, I love that. I'm like, I wish I had enough gutsack to walk in there and be like, hey, why do you suck? And they go, well, we don't. Oh, is that right? Well, I was sitting at home and I was in the stadium and I thought you did. Like, I love that is a mentality for some of them. And now, by the way, those make the best clips. So I assume that they're trying to get situations like
we
that.
saw it on Hard Knocks with Jalen Ramsey, and they tried to ask about his contract, and then he just said, you know what, they're going to get that done. And then they asked him again, and he decided to walk away from the interview.
Listen, I'm trying to do the right thing here. You hear me doing that? That's the way this whole thing goes. This isn't like a sit-down conversation here. It's interesting because the media people also they hear conversations like this happen, and they read tweets and see videos from people, and they're like, oh, the conversations you say, how come we can't do that with us, or how come we can't, or whatever, like you can see how the media people get pissed off as well. It's kind of a give and take, but it's not their show. It's the human that's talking.
Do you think any of it has to do with with the Athletic now, guys will work at a certain team and then they'll just bounce and go work for another team and then another team. So it's almost like they don't build any kind of relationships or rapport with the actual players, because it's just it is just a job.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, because you have no feeling toward the player.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you stunk. Have a good one. You want to talk about it, or no? Okay.
Trying to work. Don't you think a lot of them are trying to work their way up to get a national gig, so you don't have that time invested with that coaching staff, those players? It's more like baseball. They have so much access. Football, the media doesn't have nearly as much access, I think, as other sports.
Yeah, I think you're right, though, too. And if you want to make a name, not saying that everybody, by the way, there's great local writers everywhere. We're not saying that, but it feels like there's always somebody that's, I don't want to say trying to make a name for themselves, but maybe that's their thing, by the way. And there's a lot of people that have become famous for doing that. So that's their thing. But boy, I'm happy I never had to do any of those. Before we get to a break here, I want to let you know that not all protein powders and protein shakes are created equally, AJ.
Amen to that.
You know that?
I know that now. I'm curious as to what you're going to say next.
Well, Aaron said you go way beyond protein shakes and powders.
Yeah, the dirty stuff.
Stop doing it, AJ.
You're out there just eating steroids is what he said.
AJ and Mark McGuire.
Basically,
stop, dude.
Aaron said, is everything okay, dude? Because we got something that'll help your body out massively, bub.
My body's doing great. I think once Aaron's done playing, he needs to get juiced up and show up about 285 all vascular. Just show up.
Just like you.
I did see a former Green Bay Packer quarterback at a golf tournament where he had Popeye arms, vascularity, and drove a golf ball, I think, 395 yards every time he swung the club.
It wasn't Popeye.
Wasn't Popeye.
No.
He was not a quarterback for the Packers.
Nope.
He was not. But Popeye and that guy we're talking about, and AJ, would love True Fit by RSP Nutrition, because it's proof that not all protein powders and protein shakes are created equally. Created by a former college football player, True Fit is packed with the highest quality grass-fed protein plus so much more. True Fit also contains fruits and veggies, MCT oil, fiber, and probiotics to take care of that gut for you. It has everything your body needs and nothing you don't. No artificial stuff, fillers, or ingredients you can't read. No. It's amazing no matter your fitness goal or lifestyle. You can use it for post-workout recovery recovery or as a healthy shake or meal replacement if you're trying to shed a few pounds.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Their chocolate one I've been meal replacing with.
How is
Pretty good.
It's very good. Very, very, very good. TrueFit is actually available in 4 flavors: chocolate, vanilla, cinnamon churro. I would not recommend that one. And new cold brew coffee. The cinnamon churro, people need to know, is not going to taste like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which is what I thought. I want to chug it, and it does. It might be for other people, but the chocolate one is unbelievable. Best chocolate protein shake I've ever had. I'd assume the vanilla one is the same way. The cinnamon churro didn't tickle my fancy, but it might tickle yours. And the new cold brew coffee, my lady loves. Just yesterday, TrueFit cold brew coffee was chosen by GQ as their best protein powder for early morning. Wow. Here's a special deal right now for listeners and watchers of this show. You get 20% off TrueFit with code McAfee when you go to rspnutrition.com and use code McAfee. Once again, you'll get 20% off at checkout. RSP is so confident that you'll love their products that they offer a 100% money-back guarantee. TrueFit, it's so much more than just protein.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's rspnutrition.com. Code McAfee, MCAFEE, 20% off. The chocolate shake is very, very good.
Oh, yeah.
Cinnamon churro one, I could not do it.
A little clumpy.
Yeah, you got to have a good shaker. But it was unbelievable. The chocolate one's the best one I've ever had. I'm almost addicted to them. 45 minutes into the third hour here on this Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, October 27th, 2020. We'll be back on the other side with some phone calls and AJ Hawk. Wow, AJ Hawk will be here.
What?
Wow. Channel 82, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Yeah, it's a dumb question from a dumb person that's a part of a dumb community, the internet wrestling community. Let's talk about hospital rooms, pal, shall we? Let's take a trip back to NXT TakeOver 30. You remember that? I gave Adam Cole all he could handle. I made a couple rookie mistakes, okay? Kicked the stairs, hurt my foot like hell. I mean, I almost shot those steel stairs over the barricade because how strong my leg is. But he took advantage of that rookie mistake because he's a scumbag, okay? I go up to the top rope. What am I doing? Don't need to go up there. I can finish the thing. I go up to the top rope. He takes advantage. Rookie mistake shouldn't have happened. After the match, instead of reaching out his hand, let's go shake the hands. Instead of doing that, he flexes on me. That's undisputed. That didn't sit lightly with me. No. And although I couldn't be hands-on with the dismantling of the Undisputed Era and Adam Cole, I knew there was a way that they could feel my impact. My YouTube page just hit 1 million subscribers. How you doing? Keep it moving. Sirius XM every single day just launched. How you doing? Keep it moving. Football season's in full swing. How you doing? Keep it moving. I can't be down there every single day, so I hired somebody to take care of my light work. I hired somebody that's a younger, more handsome, and more built version of me. Ridge Holland. You all saw it when he dumped Adam Cole's lifeless body over the barricade and walked it off. Who do you think bought him that Mercedes? That was me. You're welcome, Ridge. Now, Ridge got hurt. T's and P's to him. I will not ask for a refund. You did your job. And now I had to look for a plan B. My guy that I was going to run alongside and take over NXT with is now out with a gruesome injury. Who should I call? Well, why not the guy that took out my guy? The psycho from Boston, Oni Lorcan. I reach out to him. I say, hey, pal, you want to make a little money, huh? You want to go on a little bit of a run? They said no. They lose the Undisputed Era. They call back. We make a deal. They take out the rest of Undisputed Era. Kyle O'Reilly, who's super noble, says, why don't you guys take the NXT tag team title shot tonight? It was perfect. I show up. We win the titles. Undisputed Era looks like a bunch of bums and stooges. And we're just getting started.
All right, everyone knows where I'm going. 44.5. It's way too high. Give me the under.
Jesus.
Let me tell you why.
Another night of this.
Chicago is 27th in the league in points per game.
Ever heard
29th in yards per game. 26th in points per play. 30th in yards per play. 29th in third down conversion. 26th in red zone scoring. 28th in yards per rush. 29th in yards per pass. Those are not good.
No
Those
way.
are absolutely, and they're all Chicago D. All top 10, all the categories. Top 10, all the categories. Neither of these teams in the last 3 games have gone over 40 points in their game. Okay? Each have gone under in their last 3 games. Okay?
Okay.
I'll be taking the under tonight. Thank you very much.
Hold on, I'm joining you.
Are you?
Yeah, I'll come in. I'll hate football for a night. Like, that's what you do. The underbetters hate football. I'll come with you. So we want everybody to fail. We want everything bad to happen. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
not talk about
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
Welcome back here on this Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, October 27, 2020. Being joined by the AJ Hawk.
Ooh.
Ooh, I did not know that was coming right there. I'm pretty pumped up. Johnny Dunn, I guess, was his name.
Okay.
Shout out to Johnny Dunn going ham right there. Aaron Rodgers, I guess whenever he talked about star players or something like that, he mentioned Julio's name. I didn't even catch that somehow. He mentioned Julio's name. That is now obviously hitting Twitter a little bit that Aaron Rodgers knows that Julio Jones is a great player. Breaking news, by the way. Breaking news.
Are they trying to say that Aaron's trying to court Julio to be traded?
Whoa, is that what you're saying?
AJ,
Is that what you just said, AJ?
idea.
Is that what you said?
Is that what your instant reaction is from however many tweets you saw of people say that?
That does feel like that is what is happening on the internet. Also, local media in Green Bay has heard the message.
Did he just say Julio?
I'm excited to. I don't know if they even know about Julio. They heard another part of the conversation about last Wednesday, and that has generated a lot of buzz. I saw one particular person ask, what does he consider a good question? And then I got attacked for some of the questions that I asked, which, by the way, completely fair. I completely understand that. But it does feel as if tomorrow should be must-see Zoom call between Aaron Rodgers and the media in Green Bay.
Pat, do you think this show and Aaron's appearance every Tuesday is single-handedly ruining his relationship with the media in Green Bay?
I do believe there is a chance. Do I feel bad?
Started the good writers and media people in Green Bay that are there. We didn't mean to do that. I don't think that's the case, but I think there's enough for everybody.
Well, there's a great group of people over there, okay? They follow. We got a chance to, see them and meet them. But that question, I just listened to the first question back, because I saw the tweets reacting about him being moody. I mean, it was quite the way that question was framed was like, and then there was a follow-up. Like, Aaron even asked the question. He was like, what do you mean? Well, have they figured you out, basically, the guy asked. And he was like, oh, are we on like a... you're like a pundit guy. You're not like a journalist. Because I think that is the thing, the expectation levels of different things and different people, I think. So, like the local journalists, they went to school to be in there. There's like an entire thing. So I would assume that whenever they ask a question, whenever you're a player, you would expect like, okay, this is this type of media. But now it's kind of becoming an interesting world where, I don't know. I just think respect is everything that people, and if you feel disrespected and it's your press conference, you could probably have a sudden turnoff. I would understand that's pretty expected and understandable if you're the media people up there asking that question.
Well, and like you said, I'm not saying they do this, but at this point where we're at, you also have to know, there's no such thing as bad pub. If you ask a question like that and it goes super viral on Twitter, it's like, well, that's not exactly hurting, what you're trying to do either.
Yeah, it's crazy. Tomorrow's awesome. I'm going to zoom in.
Pumped.
Me too.
You got to get that link.
What time's that happening?
I don't know. I think it'll go well, though, obviously, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll go well. Yeah. I truly believe that it'll go well.
Yeah, because they know now.
AJ, let's talk before we get off here on SiriusXM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 8. Let's talk about your thoughts on the game last night. We talked about it a little bit there with Aaron in the play call. I thought the Bears were going to be able to cover +6, +6.5. It's my only loss of the Week 7, by the way. I was completely wrong on that whole thing. Johnny Hecker won the damn game for the Rams, obviously, pinning that offense deep 5 times inside their own 5. It's going to be tough to win a game whenever you have that. The percentages of scoring starting from there are very, very low. So are we fairly criticizing the Chicago Bears offensive ineptitude, or was it just a bad setting for them to do well last night, you think, AJ?
No, I think it's absolutely fair to criticize their offense, especially with how well their defense is playing. You feel like, all right, eventually, come on now. The defense is making plays. They're holding up, but you got to give them some help at some point. And I'm sure the offense feels that too. They feel stressed by that. They know they need to make plays, but making them go the long way, that's what you would want to do against anybody, but especially a team like Chicago when they're kind of up and down. They're such a roller coaster offensively, and Nick Foles is too. Hey, if you make them go the long way and force them to be perfect and go 90 yards, it's going to be a long night.
I'm so intrigued by that. Nick Foles told us that some plays get called that he knows he has no chance in. That comment, that didn't come from nowhere, right?
He said it's out of context, right? He once he heard it afterwards, he said, it was I don't know, miscommunication between me and Greasy. I'm like, well, then what was said exactly?
Yeah, that's going to have to get cleared up at some point, or people just move on and act like nothing ever happened. But that is, I don't know. Just the whole Bears situation, they're 5-2 right now, and nothing about them looks like it. You know what I mean?
Feels like it.
Last night, nothing looks like it, nothing feels like it. And if
Is anyone excited? Are any Chicago fans like really juiced about this year?
Oh, come on.
No. You heard that response right there. Oh, come on. That's literally what he said.
Zito, you can speak hopefully for some Chicago fans. Are you excited and more like, hey, it's us against the world, no one's going to respect us, we're just going to continue to win games? Or is it like, okay, we're 5-2, but when do we turn and become a bad football team?
Well, 5-2, and we love being dogs. It's all that matters.
Okay.
That's all that matters, baby.
Hell yeah.
It's not that you're dogs, though.
Well, the
It's
whole world
everybody
hates
says your
us. It
team
doesn't matter.
stinks.
No, the world hates us. They're all going to talk shit. And no matter what, we're going to bounce back.
Let's get one more phone call in here before the end of Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. Let's go to Caleb in Kansas City. What's going on, Caleb?
Hey, Pat. Just got a question for you. I used to play in the Chiefs drum line, and I was wanting to know what a player's perspective would be from having a drum line or a marching band like how the Ravens have or something like that.
Caleb, I appreciate that. I love a good drum line. My God, I love a good drum line. West Virginia used to have an incredible drum line. At halftime, they'd come out and just put on a performance. Not a lot of places have a great drum line. Okay, and I think whenever. And I think we had one at the Colts. We had like a little drumline group. They could set the tone of the whole place. By the way, I'm a big drumline fan. The whole band, not so much. I could do without the horns. Okay, a lot of room, a lot of space. Don't know if we need them. The drumline now in most bands, I appreciate you guys in college. Okay, you guys really set the tone, everything like that. I'm talking about in the NFL here. I like a good drumline though. I am a drumline fan. I think
makes some great halftime shows.
I think drumline's great. When I hear a drumline, it reminds me of high school football. And college football, really. So I think drum lines at NFL games are awesome. I think it brings some of that juice that the guys remember from playing on Friday nights.
And there's only a couple of them, by the way. There's only a couple teams that have them. Only a couple mascots. Only a couple cheerleaders. The NFL is littered with things that aren't normal. And we're here to cover that every single day.
Hell yeah.
What a transition. Hour 3 here wrapping up on this Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, October 27, 2020. From AJ, all of us, Michael Lombardi, Aaron Rodgers, we can't thank you enough. The Judge, Tori, is next on SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Hey, you good stuff, dude.
Good stuff, man.
Hey, happy Aaron Rodgers Tuesday to you.
Hey.
To you and yours.
To you and
That's good.
Yeah, to me and mine. All right.
That's a good one.
Here's to the bride, to the bride, to the bride. That just showed how cultured I am, by the way. That's from Hamilton.
That was incredible.
Look at you.
Yeah,
I was in the
right.
room where it happened.
Broadway
Hey,
show.
is Diggs dead? Where is he?
So actually, we do have an update on Diggs. He woke up this morning feeling a little sick. So out of an abundance of caution, he stayed home. Went and got tested, a rapid one and a PCR one. Rapid one came back negative. So
Let's go. Attaboy, Tony.
Go on.
So we're 1-4. And the PCR one, I guess, is a lot more definite or something like that. We've learned a lot here throughout the testing process. But yeah, so I kind of missed him today. He would have loved talking to Lombardi, by the way.
He loves
The Italians, these things like to gossip.
They like to talk.
In each other's ears.
They all look in the eyes.
Hey, grazie.
Come on.
Football.
Ciao, bello.
Spicy meatball.
Zito, you can't do what you
Whoa,
just did. The Italians do not.
What do you mean?
Unbelievable.
What did I do?
It just came out yesterday that Italian meat is now potentially infected.
Can't do it.
Italian sandwiches are dead. Tone woke up this morning sick. We thought there was potentially an attack on Italians happening.
Wait.
I, for one, was not happy about it.
Is there an attack?
I hope not. I hope not.
What about meatball subs? Those are safe still, right?
I love meatballs.
Yeah, they're safe. So is eating, I think, or drinking your own urine. That's pretty safe too.
Yeah, very sterile.
I think I'd rather drink my own piss than eat a meatball sub.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, pal.
Oh, go ahead and do it then.
I drink so much water, basically just warm water. I'm making tea down there. Go ahead and fucking do what I got to do instead of eating that trash-ass meatball sub that is uncomfortable to eat because your hands are all over the place. It's dripping everything. The bread's soggy. It's just an absolute scumbag move to waste one of the greatest creations in food, the meatball, and put it into a home it's not supposed to be.
Toast it.
Put the meatball with pasta. Put the meatball on side.
Yep.
Do what you have to do. Don't put the fucking meatball on a sandwich because it ruins the meatball.
This is perfect because there's actually meatball subs outside now, and AJ, there's one outside your house, so you guys can either eat those or drink your own piss right now, and then you guys can make the call on what's better.
I would like it to be known that I have backed off the piss thing.
Yeah.
AJ has not, though.
No,
He's not. He has.
steadfast.
AJ will.
I just sent a text to my wife to wake my 4-year-old up because I need him to man the camera while I drink my own piss. So I can send it to you guys. Dad, what are we doing? Don't worry about it, bud. Just hit record. Keep me in frame.
Oh, that's good.
I can't selfie film. I can't.
No, you can't do
that. I love you can't mount the camera.
You want to spit up piss on your phone.
Just hit record and put me in frame. Oh my God.
No, horizontal.
That's the show, man. All right, I was planning on taking some phone calls, but there's no chance of that. We'll be back tomorrow. AJ, good luck out there, man. There's a meatball sub you could just do instead. All right, that's the show.
Enjoy your glass of piss.